cold as a razor blade.
Episode of the Snake Pit, but this week we are again without my man Jake the Snake Roberts. Between his travel with AEW and also going up to New York City for the New York Comic-Con, our man Jake has been busy as he's ever been, which is a great thing. I'm glad that Jake is out on the road doing his thing, meeting you great fans, but something's got to give. And so with that being the case, we're going to do a compilation episode today. And it's a period of time in Jake's career that I'll admit it's a guilty pleasure of mine. It's the new generation era. And when Jake returned in 1996, a lot of stuff was wrong with the new generation era. A lot of it's kind of nostalgic, especially for me. I grew up as a new generation era fan, and it was interesting to see Jake under those circumstances. Was Jake treated the right way? No, not always. Did Jake have the best creative during that time? No, he did not. But seeing Jake the Snake Roberts on screen with the likes of Shawn Michaels, Vader, Diesel, Razor Ramon, all of these guys that represented that generation of professional wrestling, it was just kind of a cool period and interesting to see a golden era guy inside of this new generation trying to find his way. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to look back at Jake in the new generation, 1996. I hope you guys enjoy it, and we will be back next week with some Ask Jake Anything, and we'll look forward to seeing you then right here on the Snake Pit. Jake, I'm so psyched to talk about the topic that we're on today. It's, kind of right when I was at the peak of my fandom. We're talking about Royal Rumble 1996 and your return to the WWF during the new generation era. Jake, when this drops, it'll be just days after the 27th anniversary of the event. So it's can you believe that much time has passed?
No, I can't, man. I really can't. God, I'm getting old. Thanks.
It's reminding me that I'm getting old because I can remember this shit now. And we're talking about 27 years ago. But hey,
good times.
It is good times. And I really like the idea that it's just a unique period of time because it's this new generation of guys that are coming in and you're from the quote unquote previous era. A lot of people call it the Hulkamania era. So it's cool getting to see these kind of intersecting lines.
Well, a lot of people say you're old school. That's not true. I'm from the school that burnt down before they built the old school.
Well, and what's
gotta one up you.
Well, you got what's funny too about this era is that there was a lot of mocking of your generation too, which we're gonna get into. So it's just fascinating. What a weird time for you to come back in. But without any further ado, Jake, let's go ahead and launch into this thing.
Yeah,
you ready?
Sure. Yeah, man.
All right. So I guess first thing to ask right out of the gate is, were you watching any of the new generation stuff that was going on while you were out?
I had not been watching it at all. I kind of immersed myself in just trying to find myself.
Yes.
I was still struggling with addiction, but fighting it tooth and nail. And, it's amazing how fast money goes when you're not making any. And the wife and I had 3 more children. Surprise.
My goodness.
Yeah. We had 3 more children. So it was time Daddy went back to work. And it's funny how sometimes it just seems to happen right when you really need it. And at the time I really needed it. And I got the call to come to the Royal Rumble.
Man, it's such a cool time. And it's, the old guard was gone, as we mentioned before, all these guys that had really established themselves. And now they're being replaced with guys like your friend Razor Ramon, Undertaker, Diesel, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. They're all at the top of the heap. And while ratings were definitely down, certainly from the time that you were there, the amount of talent on that roster was just through the roof.
Yeah, there was some awesome talent there, but, they still weren't where we were.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason the ratings dropped, because the people still wanted to see us old farts.
Mm-hmm.
And I know coming back, there was a lot of heat in the locker room, a lot of jealousy. And it really pissed me off that the guys were jealous, because each night I would go to the ring, man, the roof would just go off, and then nobody can touch it.
Well, it's, to your point, it's go get over then, it's in they won't have to, have to cheer for these older guys.
I know that night that we did the Royal Rumble, Vince and them they're so into the technical thing that they would measure the pop
Wow.
that each guy got. And at the end of the night, he gathered everybody around and announced who won the pop meter. And number one was the first time they see me come to the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Number two was when I DDT'd somebody. And number three was when I got Damien out.
Wow.
So I stole all three top pops.
Now, did he slip a extra couple Benjamins in your
Fuck, are
pocket
you
for the
kidding
time?
me? No,
I knew the
no.
answer. I
All
knew
I
the
got was bullets of hate.
answer. Well, so I'm curious. Did you think that there was any, obviously the Monday Night era came along, and all of a sudden, it's hot again. But did you think at this time that it would ever get as big as it
Oh
was when
yeah,
Hulkamania was running
sure,
wild?
sure.
Yeah.
I believed, it just takes time to get that talent over to the point that, they're established. They were fresh on the scene, so to speak, because we put 20 years in before we ever got there.
Mm-hmm.
And to put that talent out there and expect them to do the things that we did, they hadn't learned that magic yet. There's more to getting over than going out and doing her Karana or whatever off the top rope or some insane bump. There's more to getting over than that.
Yep.
And it's that thing called charisma, man. If you don't have it, you can't buy it, you can't steal it, so you're screwed. The best thing you can do is to get close to somebody who does have it and try to work with them.
Well, you mentioned it's not about Hurricane Ranas or crazy spots, and
No.
this is an interesting transition time because yes, there's still some big guys there, Kevin Nash, Undertaker,
Yeah.
Hall, as we mentioned before, but then there's also small guys that are they're stealing the show with their move sets, like Shawn Michaels, Brett, Jeff Jarrett come to mind. They're getting all this attention for their work. What did you think of this transition into the smaller performers, though?
Well, I thought it was beautiful that it was happening, but they weren't ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
They just weren't ready. And the ratings prove that. And then that's all you can say about it, man, because let's face it. I mean, you throw out names like Hall, Nash, Undertaker. Those guys are ready.
Yes.
Those guys are ready. But the fans weren't ready for it. They didn't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't understand that now things are changing and we're going to do a new look. But Vince was pretty adamant about pushing this, and once he gets it in his head that he wants something to work, it's going to work one way or the other.
Yeah, and these guys, like a lot of them are old school guys. Jeff Jarrett for sure, Bret Hart for sure. I think Shawn Michaels is kind of ushering in that age of like his speed everything up and his spectacular spots. But that's not to take anything away from him. He's still incredible
Yeah.
move set. Probably would you consider Shawn the as many people do the greatest in ring performer of all time?
No,
Who is yours?
there's several. There's several. I mean,
Yeah,
you look at, oh gosh, my brain just went puff.
Ric Flair.
No, God, no. Let's look at the guy that's at AEW.
Kenny Omega.
Omega to me is one of the best in ring performers ever.
Wow. That's, I've seen where, a guy with an old school mentality himself, I don't think that you and he see eye to eye all the time, but Jim Cornette, he is very, very critical of Kenny Omega and his move set. But
Oh,
it's interesting hearing a guy like you be able to see and recognize just the skill that man
well,
has.
he's unbelievable, man, and I love his finishing maneuver and knee to the face. That's pretty crisp.
Ooh, man, not to get too far off topic, but with the time that he teased hitting you with that thing, I was actually watching AEW live during that, and I was like, "Oh shit, I really hope they don't try this." Like everybody tensed up, so it was just such a cool moment. Man, you bring a lot to the product when you're there.
I love being there too.
Well, hopefully more soon. Anyways, back on track. So in 1994-95, you were working in Mexico, Smoky Mountain, the
Yeah.
Independence. So, I mean, during that time, were you like hopeful, kind of waiting for your phone to ring from Vince, or were you just
No,
happy doing your thing?
no, I was just happy doing my thing. I didn't think my phone would ever ring from Vince.
Ever again?
Nope, didn't think it would.
Now, I have in my notes here, and we'll skip ahead a little and then come back. That he had made a promise to you about taking over Pat Patterson's position, right?
Right. And that's the reason I left.
Right. So, I mean, you left angry. Where was Vince's head at when you left?
He was pissed off,
Yeah.
and but not once did he say, "Jake, I really want you to stay."
Hmm.
Not once, and that really hurt. That really hurt. So I just stuck to my guns. Well, fuck it then. If you're not going to try to talk me out of it, we'll just get the fuck out of here. Obviously, you don't want anything to do with me.
Now, did you ever hear a peep from him in between
Nope,
then and 96? Never once.
not once.
Interesting, especially after all the water under the bridge between the two of you.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we're gonna let Meltzer put his 2 cents in real quick. It's March 7th, 1995. Observer Jake Roberts, 39, has announced his retirement from wrestling and canceled all his upcoming indie dates, claiming he's going into religion. What was the turning point at this time that made you decide you were ready to walk away from pro wrestling?
Just the turmoil, the changes and everything that were going through the business. And again, I was trying to stay sober. I wasn't doing a real good job of it. And it seemed like every time I went out, man, I'd just go ape shit crazy, and you reach a point, when the wife gives you a choice.
That's pretty stiff.
Yeah, that's I really wanted to have a family, you know, and that was my one thing that I wanted more than anything. And if it meant giving up wrestling, I'd have to give it up. So I did give it up for a period of time. And then when I got the phone call, that all changed.
Now, when you did give up wrestling, were you immediately thinking, okay, I'm gonna start taking my religious beliefs on tour, or did that come along later?
Well, it kind of came along. It just kind of happened. You know,
Hmm.
uh, I've been hanging out with this motorcycle club, Christians, CMA, Christian Motorcycle Association, bunch of great guys. And they were helping keep me sober. And I was hanging with them, and we were sitting around one night just BSing, and talking about what we felt and how we felt and what we'd been through. And a couple of those guys suggested, Jake, why don't you go speak at churches? And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I can't fucking think of a fucking reason why I shouldn't fucking do it. Gee, let me fucking think, and it just kind of like surprised me. And I'm like, oh man, I don't think anybody'd want that. Besides, I mean, I didn't know that churches would pay big money for you to do this, and that's how ignorant I was. And so they talked me into going to this little church, man. And when I pulled up and seen the church, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? You can't get 100 people in there. It was tiny. It was tiny. But at the end of it, I walked out of there with like $7,500.
Damn.
You know?
Wow. Was it all guaranteed, or was it part of the
No,
gate?
there was no guarantee. They just people came in and they whatever they wanted to put in the pot, they put in the pot.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it just blew me away.
Um,
And just to show you the other end of the card, I've been in some churches where you got 2,500 people in there and you get a check for 1,500.
all depends on the crowd, huh?
God damn, promoters are everywhere.
Yeah, man.
You fucking kidding me? Vince wanted to be a Oh my God, my brain, brother.
Was
Sorry.
it? No, it's okay. What he interested in doing some of these religious bookings as
Oh
well?
yeah, yeah, yeah. He wanted to do that big time. If he hadn't been he told me if he hadn't been a wrestling promoter, he wanted to be a. Oh my God.
Like Oral Roberts?
Not a Oral Roberts, just somebody that went out there and went with it, man. And oh my God, I can't think of the word I wanted to say, man.
Like a revivalist preacher?
Yeah, yeah, running
Yeah.
revivals and stuff, and going and barnstorming the country, and starting a fire here and keep the fire going. I can see that happening.
I was gonna
I
say,
really
like,
can.
it sounds crazy to say it, but, like, with his charisma and whatnot,
Oh my
he'd
God,
probably
man.
be great at it, really.
Absolutely, man. And he's already got all the suits,
I mean, he does, he
you
does,
know.
and, the devenomized snake thing, you could let him bite him, and
Oh
it
yeah,
could work.
absolutely. And
Uh,
shove it up his ass.
yes, any of the above.
You can blow up a car. Oh, he's already done that. Never mind.
He's done that.
Yeah.
During this off time from wrestling, were you, like, getting the itch at all, or were you pretty satisfied doing what you were doing?
I was going through a really confused time, man. I knew that I'd screwed the pooch, so to speak, with wrestling. Uh, the thing with Turner Broadcasting blew up,
Mhm.
and now I'm being forced. Well, then your choice is to go back to the other guys. Well, the other guys didn't seem to be knocking on my door, and I seen the changes they were doing. With the young guys coming in, I thought, well, they just don't give a shit. They don't need me, and that's all on me. I was so insecure. Uh, I know most people can't understand how can Jake the Snake be insecure. Well, you have it beat into your head long enough, you believe it.
Mhm.
And I'd had it beat into my head my whole life. So I still didn't think I was worthy of anything. So there you
Man,
go.
and to put it in context, what you just referenced to the fans is in '92 when Jake left, as we just referenced, he went to WCW, but then that situation went kinda tits up, mostly due to
Yeah.
Bill Watts's
Yeah.
bullshit,
That motherfucking piece of dog shit eating bastard.
and next thing you know, Jake has got a lawsuit with them, so the 2 main wrestling promotions in America now, he's kinda got burnt bridges in theory.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a weird time for Jake, but it sounds like you were about to turn things back around with one of the organizations. We've got this from the January 2nd '96 Observer. In an effort to combat falling buy rates, the WWF has sent out for many surprising names in the Royal Rumble. Among those known to have been contacted for the event are Dan Severn, Jake Roberts, Ultimate Warrior, Big Van Vader, and Rick Martel. Of those names, the only name that has been mentioned at all on television is Warrior. Although Vince McMahon is negotiating with people about being on the show, he did mention Vader and Warriors appearing at the Rumble. So,
Hmm.
what do you remember about getting this call from Vince?
Not much. I got it from Pritchard.
So, Vince didn't even call you.
Nope.
Mm,
He had Pritchard call me,
interesting,
which is another slap in the face.
right? Nothing
You
against
know,
Bruce, but you want to get
no.
called from the main guy, right?
Yeah, you'd like to.
Yeah.
Instead of, Jake, we're thinking about, possibly if you could, maybe, and they know what to say to you.
Hmm.
They're putting it out there like they really don't give a fuck. But if you'll beg, we might bring you in. You know,
I mean, it speaks volumes that, like, the buy rates are down, and hey, let's turn to old reliable Jake. That ought to get people interested, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, it
Um,
did.
well, at this point, was there any discussion whatsoever of working in the office?
Yes,
There was
yeah,
right out of the gate.
yeah. Right out of the gate, I told them that's what I was interested in, and that I didn't think that I was healthy enough to get into the ring and perform because I'd gained a lot of weight. I was at a little over 300 pounds at the time,
Hmm.
and my wrestling weight was 240. So that's not easy to do. you know?
No, no, I mean, that extra weight probably makes it a lot harder on your
Oh
knees,
my
harder to do
God,
the shit you used to do, right?
my lungs.
I'll bet.
Yeah, it was really terrible, man, to go out there and try to perform carrying that extra weight. You'd be gassed in a couple of minutes, and now you're just trying to hold on.
Uh,
Because when you run out of gas, brother, you ain't got nothing left.
yeah, no, it's some famous football coach said it'll make a coward out of all of you.
Yep,
So your wind will,
damn right it will, man. And unfortunately, there's a couple of guys that thought that was funny,
and would try to blow you up.
would try to blow me up.
No shit.
Absolutely, yeah.
You want to name any names?
Besides Bulldog, no.
Just the bulldog.
Him and
During
Owen thought it was funny.
now that I've heard a lot about Owen ribbing people, and that I can kind of see.
Yeah, he
Um,
wasn't too vicious with it. The other guy was pretty vicious with it.
oh really? That's a shame.
Yeah.
Now, when you're talking to Bruce, is any of the past history discussed, or
Nope.
no?
Nope.
Just clean
In
slate.
fact, whenever I came back and finally met with Vince, Vince sat me down and said, Jake, we know you. We know who you are. We know what you do. But we're buying the whole package.
Meaning
So
that
my
regardless of
drugs and my
any and all
drug issues
issues.
and all that are being accepted.
Wow, they really wanted you
Yeah,
back.
they really want to be back.
Well, we mentioned Warrior, and God knows that he burnt that bridge and blew it up and peed on it afterwards.
Yeah.
So it's I guess Vince was in a forgiving mood at this time.
But yeah, he told me they accepted all that and that my brilliance was worth it. That was exactly what he said. He said, your brilliance is worth it.
Well, I have to side with him there, because it's not only a down territory, but the proof has been in the pudding with you your entire career. You draw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Put asses in seats.
Now, at this point, did Vince did Bruce or anybody make any mention whatsoever of going full time, or was it just one spot and let's see what happens?
It was to do the Rumble and then come to the office.
All right.
And then all of a sudden it was, well, we need you for this one.
Mm,
Oh, so and so's hurt. He can't make it. Would you do this one? And then they started pecking away at it. And next thing you know, we want you on the road full time. What are you gonna do, man? You're making 5-10 grand a week, and mama's happy, and you think, well, maybe I can. That was a mistake. Because when I went on the road, that's when it all blew up on me again.
that is my next question was, as you're, thinking about doing the dance here with Vince
Right.
and Bruce and everybody, is there any concern over like relapsing in your sobriety at this point?
They weren't concerned with it.
Were you?
I was scared to death.
Yeah.
I knew that if I went back on the road, I was doomed.
That lifestyle.
That it would get me sooner or later. And it did.
Mm-hmm.
And it did. And at first they put up with it, but then it just got to the point, they couldn't.
Right.
And that's on me. That's on me. They certainly gave me every opportunity to just do the job and be all right. But the bottom line is I didn't fit in the office because I'm not an office guy.
Right.
Vince liked to get everybody around a big table and come up with an idea. Me, if I'm going to come up with an idea, give me 10 minutes. I'm going to take a walk outside, smoke a cigarette. When I come back, I'll have something.
Yes.
That's just the way it happens for me. I wish to hell I could say that I've got a formula of how to do this. Oh, yeah, just give me a name and I'll mix that name with this name. And then I'll come up with a storyline that lasts for, 6 months. No, that's not the way it happens.
Right.
The way it happens for me is I just go outside and just get still and breathe. And then all of a sudden something will click inside my head and go, what if? What
So
if
now,
you did this?
Vince was just a little bit more fast thinking. Like he wanted what he wanted, and he wanted it right then and there.
No, he wanted to be a part of the process.
Gotcha.
He wanted to learn the process from me. Well, I
see.
didn't have a process. My process was each one of them was a gift from God, man. I didn't come up with that idea. God did. I didn't come up with that idea. I didn't come up with the idea of the DDT. God showed it to me. It was an accident.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you create the best wrestling finishing hold ever by an accident.
Unbelievable.
You know,
Unbelievable.
I'd like to say, yeah, man, I'm so smart that me and Einstein, we used to talk, you know, right.
Okay, guys, let's hit the pause button to talk about something that's really exciting. The NBA is finally back. We've been waiting, and it's here, baby. The new season means new ways to get into the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Who's draining threes from beyond the arc? Who's crashing the boards and grabbing rebounds? Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. Is this your first time with DraftKings? Guess what? New DraftKings customers, you just bet $5 and you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Every point counts with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SNAKEPIT. That's code SNAKEPIT, SNAKEPIT, for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball. So at this point, Jake, you had mentioned you physically you're not at your best. You're seeing these young kind of flashy guys? Are you like, I can still go with them?
No,
not at all.
I knew I couldn't.
Yeah,
you know, and that's Of course, they disguised it a little bit by running me in tag teams a little bit, but not enough. Because every time I got out there one-on-one, man, I would be so gassed that it was scary.
Right.
When you get so out of it that you're getting afraid, then you shouldn't be out there.
Right.
And I didn't want to be picking somebody up to slam them and just drop.
And be out of energy, yeah.
And I didn't want to drop them on their head or anything. So I'm actually trying to take care of my dancer that I'm dancing with and trying to take care of myself. But, man, adrenaline is such a dangerous drug.
Yes.
Because when that adrenaline would hit you out there, I can make it one more night. I can make it one more night. I can make it one more night. And that's exactly what happened, man.
Over and over.
Yeah. Sure did, man.
What was the reaction among your close friends and family members when you get this call and you're ready to come back?
They were scared for me.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. My wife didn't want me to go back at all. Then I convinced her to let me do the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And then I convinced her to let me go to the office and be, in the office, that I wouldn't be on the road with all the guys. And, I'm not, I was basically trying to say the problem is the guys. No, the problem was Jake Roberts. Because Jake had this thing called addiction. And when I get stressed, when I get happy, when I get sad, when I'm overjoyed, there's always a reason to celebrate.
Right.
There's always a reason for me to drink because something's bad, because you got screwed over. There's always a reason to celebrate because, oh my God, you just got $10,000. Let's celebrate. Right. Oh my God, you had a good meal at the restaurant. Let's celebrate. Oh my God, did you see that dog piss on that tree? Let's celebrate. You know,
So you could have been on the road with, like, a pack of nuns and priests, and you still would have been looking.
yeah, yeah, I would have found a way to drink.
Well, it's, it's hard. It's a hard thing to come to terms with, and a hard thing to look at yourself in the mirror, and it took you a
Yeah,
long
man,
time, but
it's hard to admit that you're powerless over a drink or a drug.
mhm.
But that's for the first thing in AA you got to do, man. Admit that you're powerless. It's for those that never experienced it. I pray that you never have to experience it, because to wake up in the morning and the first thing that comes to your brain is, how can I get some shit today?
Mm,
Waking up before you piss.
dark
You're
place
trying
to
to
be.
think, how can I find some shit today? Or what can I do to set up a thing that will make it seem almost like I should get some shit today?
Mhm.
It's amazing the storylines I came up with just to get high. Oh my God.
Man, your recovery is amazing. I want us to maybe do an episode where we discuss addiction a little bit more. And actually, I've got a
Yeah.
really cool guest in mind, who's dealt with a lot of the same stuff, which I'll talk to you about off air. We'll get there.
Okay.
All right, so Jake, the big day arrives. It's January 21st, 1996, and you are back on the largest stage in professional wrestling. You're
Yeah.
40 years old, and you're back, man. It's just incredible. I know that the buzz amongst the fans at the time was absolutely nuts. How does it feel to be back in this company where you made your name?
It just mind boggling, man. The reaction from the fans gave me so much. I was overjoyed. I was empowered. I felt like Superman, man, when I walked to that ring. And then within 3 or 4 minutes, I felt like a blivet. I felt like a balloon with all the air gone.
So, man, thank God for the
Yeah,
Rumble. You can kind of hide a little bit of that
you
under those
damn right, man.
circumstances.
Find you a corner and get low.
So now I know that you had developed a relationship with Scott Hall at this point, but were you close
Hmm.
with anybody else in that locker room at the time?
No, I wasn't.
So it was just Scott. I mean, Scott was kind of running with his buddies, though. Did you hang around with him?
Yeah, no, I didn't hang. I didn't fit in.
Mm.
I didn't fit in. I wasn't part of the clique.
So I'm about to ask about that.
I've never been a cliquey guy, man. I don't believe in cliques. I think they're wrong. I think they're wrong for the business. Friendship is one thing, but when you start trying to run a company by your influence and forcing people to do things that they don't want done because you have the power, it's not good.
Right.
In fact, Vince asked me, Jake, what do you think's wrong with everything right now? Because our numbers are so far down. And I told him, I said, it's pretty simple, Vince. You're letting the inmates run the asylum.
Mm-hmm.
And the clique was running it. So if the clique is going to take all the pats on the backs for drawing the house, okay, then you got to take all the pats on the back for the numbers that have dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the proof of the pudding is. You can say that Shawn Michaels had a great run, or Shawn Michaels was a great champion, but what were the numbers? You can say Bret Hart was a great champion. What were the numbers?
They don't lie.
Yeah, go ahead and tell me what the numbers were. Then they get quiet. I mean, Hulk Hulk comes back. What happens?
It pops
Numbers go where?
through the roof.
Huh? Must be something to that. Maybe those guys are really over.
It does make you wonder, and yeah, it's you were coming in during this, as you said, it's this weird, like, tumultuous time, and so many
Yeah,
backstage politics. I've also heard about, I don't know if it's necessarily the click, but guys kind of playing cruel ribs. You had mentioned how,
yeah,
you a couple people tried to blow you up. Was anybody doing that
yeah.
weird stuff where they're like shitting in
Oh
your bag or
yeah,
whatever?
yeah. They were doing some pretty bad stuff. I think the one they got really good was Tammy Fitch. Uh, at the
Sonny.
time, Yeah, at the time, I think there were a couple of wrestlers that were both sleeping with her.
Hmm.
I don't want to mention any names, Brett, Sean, but
It's out there.
it's out there, well known. But we went to Europe, and she was on it, and Sean was pissed off at her for some reason. And when you go to Europe, they send a chef with you. They cook for you every day. They cook before the show, and then they'll cook you stuff up for after the show, and they'll make a nice little container for it. And you just walk by and find your name. There it is. Boom, you're done. Well, Tammy picked up her food one night and went to her room and ate it. And then when she got to the bottom of it, she realized that somebody had taken her pasta and chicken out of the box and then put a great big turd in the bottom.
Oh, God.
And then put the pasta on top.
Oh, God.
And she ate down to the turd.
Oh, no.
So, of course, the next morning, everybody's like, man, some shitty pasta last night.
Oh, no.
Man, the food's usually good, but that shit last night tasted like shit. And she knew who did it.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are firing these barbs at her. Tammy, how was your pasta? I bet your pasta was good, though, right?
Oh, God.
Because you like shit,
That might be taking it a little too far.
Yeah, well, Vince thought it was, and she lost. She completely lost her mind, and I would have too.
Yes.
And they wound up calling her, telling her to get back on a plane back home.
Man, it's what a weird. I mean, because people say all the time, wrestling is really its own entity. Like something like that would never fly in any other profession, and it's just pro wrestling, man.
Yeah, exactly, and it should have never happened. And again, power of the click.
Mm-hmm.
What can Vince do? He goes to them and say, "Who did it?" And they'd all stand up and said, "I did it."
And it's some of your top guys. You can't exactly suspend them
Yeah,
all.
you're gonna send your main event home. Go ahead, Vince.
What a weird position to be in.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the days of trying to book a match. We'd be at Vince's house, sitting around a big table, 5 of us, myself and Pat Patterson, Bruce Pritchard, Cornette, and sometimes
Russo.
Gerald Briscoe. No, Gerald Briscoe. Russo wasn't there, thank God. But we'd be sitting around there, and Vince would get a phone call, and we'd like, guys, I got to take this. And we'd like, oh boy, here we fucking go. And we'd sit there for 2 hours waiting for him to come back. And what was he doing? He was on the phone with Brett and Sean, trying to convince them to wrestle each other. When I first heard about that, I said, Vince, fire both of them motherfuckers. Fire them both, man. They're not helping your fucking company. They're jacking your company off. They're playing you. Are you kidding me? Have I ever been in the ring with somebody I didn't like? You fucking right I have. Did I wrestle them? You damn right I did. Did I have a good match? You fucking right I did. You know why? Because that was my fucking job.
Mm-hmm.
My job, man. Did I want to wrestle so-and-so? No, I didn't want to wrestle that piece of shit. Why did you? Because it was my job. I don't get to pick who I wrestle, who I don't wrestle. I don't get to pick the finish. When you start doing that, you're letting the inmates run the asylum. And once you do it once, you'll do it again. You will do it again.
Now, when you're bringing these concerns to Vince, is he just dismissive, or does he say like, I know?
He's like, I know. I'm in a bad spot here with this. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll tell you what you do, Vince. Fire both of them, and let's see who comes back crawling on their fucking bellies.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see who comes back. And once you fire them, Vince, guess what? Shit will change. You may have to do without him for 2 or 3 weeks, but guess what, Vince? You're better off without him. You're better off without them because you can't do anything when they're here because they don't feel like it or they don't like that guy or I'm not doing that finish with him. I've got to beat him in the middle. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't want to lose the belt in Canada. Fuck you, Brett. Are you serious? You didn't win the belt, Brett. They gave it to you. You didn't kick anybody's ass. Get over your fucking self. Are you serious? It makes me fucking sick.
I think people get a little bit lost in this showbiz / realistic type circumstance. It's like, man, come on, it's a job, as you said. It's just a job.
It's just a fucking job. You're an actor, man. Go out and do your damn job. Now, in a minute, I'm going to tell you how I really feel.
So we might have to do a YouTube exclusive on one of these. That's some good stuff, Jake. Well, now I did want to bring up now, you were doing your job, and your job at this time, you're no longer this, when you left in 92, you were this really vicious, evil character. And all of a sudden, it's all about your faith and redemption. Yeah. Now, was this something that you told Vince you wanted, or did he come in with it?
No. I got painted into a corner with that shit.
So they came to you?
Yeah. No, they didn't come to me. They just told me this is what we're doing.
Oh.
I didn't get to pick out what I was going to do. I didn't get to pick that angle out with fucking Lawler.
We're going to talk about that probably this summer for the SummerSlam discussion. I know that's a sore spot, and rightfully so. Should be, because it's just
for both of us.
Yeah, and I know it's not like Lawler was, being an asshole to you. I know I've heard him talk about it, and he is not happy that he did it.
Yeah.
It
was wrong, man.
We will talk about that soon.
Yeah, it was almost like Vince wanted to break me. He wanted me to crumble. He wanted me to fall. But he wanted to get what he could out of me before I fell.
Hard to wrap your head around that type mentality. Yeah. It really is.
Vince is a vicious man. He is a vicious, sick man. He's got a twisted fucking mind, brother.
Twisted sense of humor.
If he can't own you, he don't want it.
And it's not just you; it's some of the people who've really helped him along the way.
It's everybody.
Right.
It's everybody. When you got ready, hear me tell you. Here's a little inside info for you.
Mm-hmm.
We used to talk about the curse of the baby blues. Now, what does that mean?
No idea.
Well, I'll tell you. Anytime you work for Vince, if he ever comes to you and says, you've had a good run here, kid, and you're family, by God, you know that, don't you? You're family, so you're going to be here. But we got to repackage you. We're gonna put some color to you, give a different look to you so we can do different things with you. You good with that, right? Well, do you have a choice? No. So, my team's going to come up with something and they'll bring it to you. And what you would get would be a pair of baby blue tights. Once you got the baby blues, brother, it's humiliation time.
The baby blue tights.
Baby blue tights. I can give you about 20 fucking people that once they got the baby blue tights, they were on the way out the door. Martel, the Rujos, Don Morocco, myself. I got the baby blue. Owen Hart, Hercules.
Did Dino Bravo have baby blue
Dino
tights?
Bravo, yeah. That's just to name a few.
Wow.
And all of their tights were different before that. But once you get the baby blues, brother, that was a warning bell that you ain't going to be around here very fucking long. Before you get out that door, you're going to be humiliated. You're going to be beaten in the fucking middle. You're going to be made a piece of shit.
Is this a well-known thing among the wrestlers?
Yes.
Wow. I have never heard of that.
The curse of the baby blues.
I'm gonna go down an internet rabbit hole with that one. That is
Oh yeah.
fascinating. So also coming in at this time is Vader. Was there any concern that Vader's going to take any shine off you? He was a pretty big star in WCW.
Take any shine off of me?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
they're bringing in you, a huge star, and they're also bringing in another big star, Vader, and it's like,
Oh, I didn't care.
yeah, it just seems it feels weird to do both huge stars on the same night, but it's
Oh, it didn't bother me at all.
well, I mean, why should it? You were confident in yourself.
I don't give a fuck, man. If I get the loudest pop or the second loudest pop, I just want to pop. You know?
I do have a video coming up, but before we get there, just want to hit a couple more points from the era.
Yeah.
And one of them is Gold Dust. So Gold Dust,
Oh yeah.
he had recently come in and he was causing an awful lot of controversy due to his
Oh yeah.
portrayal of this sexually aggressive, kind of predatory character. I know that Scott Hall has gone on record as confirming that he didn't have an issue with Dustin at all, but he did not want to work with the character. Jake, old school mentality guy, what did you think? Would you have worked with Gold? You did work with Gold Dust, right?
I did work with Goldust. I had no problem with that. It's a character.
Mm-hmm.
Now, will I suck his dick? Not unless I want to.
What a high spot.
Yeah, that'd be a good finish, man. He comes and now he can't lift his arms. And the referee counts him out. 1, 2, 3.
Is that a DQ? Is that a DQ finish?
No. That's a count out, man. You couldn't lift your fucking arms.
I got you.
Your shoulders were down. Yeah.
Wow. So
I was there when they had him kiss Ahmed.
How did that go over?
Boy, I wouldn't have wanted to be in his way.
Ahmed's?
Yeah.
What did he have to say?
He lost his shit. Vince did that on purpose. Vince needed a black superstar, and Ahmed was going to be it. But then Ahmed just got to where he wouldn't show up. He was hurting people every fucking night, and just became unruly, unable to deal with him, too demanding. They finally had to let him go. But man, Vince ate a lot of shit. And before Ahmed got out of there, he had it on film, him being kissed by Goldust.
Oh, God.
So how many times do I feel like showing that?
So
exactly.
He'll get even with you one way or the other.
You don't think that whole fucking gimmick wasn't a slap at Dusty?
Oh, for sure.
No doubt.
For sure.
Did Goldust do a great job with the character? Unfucking believable great job.
I was gonna say we talked about Dusty on the last episode. Dusty got this kind of fucked up weird gimmick when he came into the territory, and he made it work. And guess what? His son did the same thing.
You damn right he did.
That's to this day iconic character, and to this day Dustin's one of the best workers in the business.
Yep, and he never got what he should have.
No. It's it's not too late. Not too late. He might still get the big belt.
I hope so, man. Certainly deserves it.
Still one of the best in AEW, and that's saying a lot. There's a lot of talent there. Let's dive back in. We're almost there. You had worked with Shawn in Mid-South, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Now, back in those days, did you see that main event potential, or just not yet?
I knew the kid was going to make it. I didn't know that he would make it to where he did. I don't think anybody could have.
Nope.
That was just a 1 in a million shot there that he would ever get that kind of push. But he got it for whatever reason, and he was excellent, no doubt about that. But I don't know. Oh boy. I don't like it when a guy goes to the ring and doesn't sell shit. And that's the problem I have with the matches I see today. Nobody is selling anything. For instance, this is a while back, but Hunter takes a sledgehammer and hits somebody with it. And before the end of the show, that guy is back on his ass. I don't know about you, but I'm quitting the fucking business.
I'm getting in my car leaving.
If I hit somebody with a sledgehammer and he comes back, fuck that. I ain't coming back, period. I'll never stop running. This sumbitch is fucking, he's antichrist or something. But what kills me is they'll go out and do all these horrible, fucking crazy, unbelievable, spectacular moves, and nobody gets beat by one of them. But they get beat by the goddamn the most vicious hold in wrestling, the schoolboy.
Oh God,
I hate that. God damn, I hate that. And shame on you guys for doing the schoolboy too, you lazy fucks. Has your fucking ego gotten so big that you won't fucking get beat by the guy's best maneuver? That's what I want to get beat by. I want to get beat by that guy's best maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
Not a schoolboy where it's an accident and I'm such a pussy I can't kick out. Give me a break, guys. Get your head out of your ass. Have some respect for your fellow combatant and go out there and sell a little bit. That's my only bitch with these young guys. They don't sell shit.
I couldn't agree more. And it's like, look, you and I've been saying it throughout this episode. It's a job. So like, look,
Do your job.
How do we get out of this match? I don't care. Pin me. Like, let's get out of it. Let's send people home happy.
1, 2, 3, baby.
Yeah, that's the best way to get out of it.
Chances are by the time they get the car, they've already forgot who won anyway.
Right, and it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because next week I can beat you. I had an epiphany. No, it's just gas.
Well, Jake, during the show, Vince was doing his Billionaire Ted skits at the time. Do you remember this with the Huckster and the Nacho Man?
Yeah.
These are the guys that were from your era, and now you're back, and he's like poking fun at these guys, acting like they're over the hill or whatever. What were you thinking when you saw this shit?
I was thinking how stupid it was to be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because all you're doing is reminding the people of who they really want to see. You know?
That's. I mean, you're talking about Hulk and Macho Man, and they're on the other channel.
So why would you put them up there, whether you're making fun of them or not? You're reminding the people that they can go see them on a different channel.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not good. That's not good wrestling. That was Vince being angry and pissed off that those guys left.
Yep.
Because he wasn't through with them.
Just being vindictive.
Right. Childish.
Well, pretty much unanimously, anybody I've ever heard talk about it, anybody in the business, they're like, it was so dumb.
Yeah, it was really stupid.
All right, well, let's get into the notes, and then we'll play this video. This is from Meltzer from the January 2nd Observer. That can't be right. That's a February 2nd, 1996 Observer. Ironically, with the exception of Michaels, it was Jake Roberts who received the biggest crowd reaction, including a DDT chant during the Rumble. Roberts, who was retired from wrestling to go into preaching business last year, came back for a one-shot, and it's almost scary how well he got over. In addition, Roberts, who has the reputation of being one of the most clever wrestlers when it comes to timing and picking spots, showed it once again. Hey, how about that praise from old Uncle Dave?
Surprises the hell out of me. Him and I don't see eye to eye most of the time.
No, I don't see eye to eye with a lot of what he has to say a lot of the time either, but in this instance, I'll agree. So Jake, let's play this video I've been teasing. It's a quick promo you did in the free-for-all, and I want people to remember that as they watch this, that there weren't not everybody was in the building yet at this time, but listen to the pop. And then we're going to do your entrance at the Rumble and then we'll get out of here, buddy. Hang on.
All right, bro.
Who knows, will it be Vader time or, of course, the return of Jake the Snake Roberts to the World Wrestling Federation? The Snake is in the bag. He will be making his way to the ring. I take it with you.
He absolutely will. Have you had lunch?
No.
He hasn't either. Look out. When we get out there, you think this thing's big. It's nothing compared to the size of the demons that once lived in me. Something that you're all, each and every one of you, will have to face.
Who's it going to be to win the WWF Royal Rumble match tonight? Whoever it's going to be is going to meet one of these two individuals.
Here we go. Here we go. Jake, look at this. Hey, listen to these people, McMahon. This building has exploded. Well, you know what's in the bag, McMahon? I know one thing. That's a huge bag. Look at the size of that. And if that's what I think it is, well, wait a minute. What's going to happen? Jake the Snake Robertson. It's look at the size of that snake, McMahon. It's huge. Look at that. Look at the size of that snake. Unbelievable. Jerry the King Lawler being pulled over. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Look at the two snakes. Lawler's headed for high ground. There were 3 snakes in the ring a moment ago. Jake, this python, and the king. Oh, my. Wait a minute. Look at that. And Jake's attendant right there with this. Well, finally. No one's going to know how scared Lawler really was. Maybe his laundry man.
Lawler selling that was just unbelievable.
Great stuff, man.
I'm guessing that Vince had it in his mind right then and there, like, hey, Lawler, some chemistry, let's get them together. And then, of course, screwed that up. But this night, Jake, when you're coming back, you got to be just on cloud 9, right?
Oh, yeah, I was flying.
Man, such an incredible moment. This reaction, I mean, it's about to turn to another run with the company. Were you pretty optimistic? Like, hey, this time around, it's gonna be big time. No. Even at this point, after that pop.
Even after that pop, I knew that I couldn't carry it out, man. That my body simply couldn't do it. Physically, I couldn't do it. It looked great. I mean, like right now, my heart and brain says, man, wouldn't it be great to get in the ring one more time? Yeah, it would be. But guess what? I'm smarter than that.
Mm-hmm.
I know I can't. And then I knew I couldn't either. I wasn't in shape for it. You don't get out of the business for a few years and then just walk back in there like nothing ever happened. First thing you got to do is you got to lose 60 friggin' pounds. Well, Vince didn't want to wait on me to do that.
60 pounds.
Like, don't worry about it, Jake. Just take your time out there. Do whatever you got to do. But we got to have you right now. If I'd been smart, I'd have said, fuck you, Vince. I can't do it physically. I'm going to step out of here. You guys go ahead. Maybe I'll see you in a year. That's what a smart guy would have done.
So before we get to 1996, though, let's just wind the clock back a little bit further. When do you think, if you can recall, when is the first time that you met Steve Austin?
I believe it was when he came to the WWE.
Okay. So right around the same time that you did in 96.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that you were with him in WCW in 92.
Well, I met him briefly there, but I wouldn't really call that a meeting.
Okay. So now when you were in WCW 92, was it like, I know that you were feeling really kind of disenchanted due to the whole Bill Watts situation.
Yeah.
Was it just like, I'm just going to fucking go to work. I don't need to socialize with anybody, or how was it?
I was in the midst of addiction, man. And I was, of course, when the Bill Watts thing, man, that just fueled my addiction. I just wanted to get high and forget about what was going on. You know? And, that was bad on me.
Tough time to be sure, but man, it's Arn Anderson actually just covered it on his podcast, Your Arrival in WCW. And dude, the fan reactions when you're showing up there, like you might not have been feeling your best or super up to the job, but holy smokes, those fans were ready.
Yeah, the fans were ready.
Well, I know that you weren't exactly on the same page, and I know that in 96, it's, you weren't exactly feeling your very, very best, right?
No, in 96, man, I was 40 pounds overweight, and I didn't want to wrestle, but I was forced into it, of course. Amazing how that happens.
Mm-hmm.
They dangle the carrot in front of you and they let you chew on it a little bit. And then they tell you they need you desperately on the road. Right. And you know what gets me about that?
What's that?
Is they were still using my ideas and they still wanted me to be a part of the booking thing, but they only wanted to pay me for one of them, either the booking or the shows.
I would venture to guess that you're making more as a wrestler than you would have been as just a backstage personality, right?
Well, yeah, of course.
So it's, man.
But I'm doing both, but I'm only going to get paid for one.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
That's fucked up, man.
It is. Well, Austin is coming in, like I said, right around the same time as you are here in early '96. I mean,
The
when you're,
Ringmaster.
oh God, just awful, dude.
It's horrible.
I mean, when you're seeing his ring work, though, does it seem
that
like a
was it.
possibility? Yeah, it seems like a possibility he could be a big star.
Yeah, even my father told me that Steve Austin had what it took to be a big star. And I said, really? And then I started watching him. And when I watched him, I was blown away. So this fucking guy's got it, man.
Mm-hmm.
My God, they got to do something about this Ringmaster shit. If they had kept him with Ringmaster, he'd have never been Steve Austin.
And like they're kind of trying to like remake the wheel here with him because, you know, yes, he was stunning Steve Austin in WCW, but he was still like he was an established star back there. He had a lot of success in WCW.
Yeah, he did. Sure
And
did.
I know that Vince likes to put his fingerprints on shit, but man, some of the stuff they were coming up with. You ever hear that they wanted to name him Chili McFreeze at one point?
Chili McFreeze.
That was a name that they had on like their list of names for Steve Austin.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. And I guess he was going to be like a Batman character, like.
Oh
like
my
Free.
God.
I mean, so it could have been worse than the Ringmaster.
That's hard to believe.
I know it. Well, by just doubling back to WCW a little bit, by 1995, Austin was frustrated with his spot there. And the narrative has kind of become that Hulk Hogan joined the company in 94 and Hulkamania just overshadowed everything else in the entire company. Allegedly, this is just the story that everyone tells. Hogan's buddies were coming along for the ride, and Austin's getting squashed by guys like Jim Duggan in his debut, losing to Savage, and just being overlooked in general. I know that you weren't there, Jake, but outside looking in, do you think that there's any fire to that smoke?
Yeah, man, they were through it. They didn't want him there.
Just so hard to believe. Like he'd be fired by FedEx, and then all of a sudden, you know, a couple of years later, he's the biggest star in the entire industry. What a fumble!
That's great. I love it. I love it when shit like that happens.
I'll tell you, guys, they've got to be looking to management at that point. Like the wrestlers, they're like, "Hey, what the fuck are we doing?"
Yeah.
Oh, brutal. Well, he's gone in 95, and like I said, 96, right around the same time as you're set to come in for the Rumble. He's there. So I know that you would have a seat in the creative meeting table, as you mentioned here. And you know, something I know our listeners are really fascinated by is your time there working on creative. I mean, so you said that your father had put in the good word for Austin essentially to you. Are you coming to Vince or anybody else saying like, "Hey, this guy's got it"?
Absolutely. After I watched him for a while, I went to Vince and I said, "This is your next superstar." And he said, "Are you kidding? I don't see him anything other than mid-card." That's exactly what he said. Mid-card at best.
Wow. Just hard to believe, man. It's because, you know, yes, he's coming in with the Ringmaster gimmick, but if you watch back that first promo, like he's got a cool voice. He delivers a strong promo. He's in great shape. It's like, man, he's kind of got all the tools you would think to make a big star.
Absolutely. He was ready, primed, ready, set on go.
Now, are you pushing to work with Austin at that point, or just
I was pushing anything to have Steve do, you know. Steve was calling me, if not nightly, every other night, and asking me what about this and what about that and what should I have done, what could I have done, different things. He was wanting to learn. He was wanting to know what could get him over the hump. And I'd give him everything that I could. Everything that I could.
Man, that's a question that's coming up later, but let's just hit it now. It's you are an established veteran at this point. Steve himself is a really established veteran.
Yeah.
But even with all of his experience, are you kind of like his guide here in this new territory that you're familiar with?
Yeah, I'm guiding him through the territory, trying to help him out.
Pretty awesome that you set him on this path, and now, I mean, gosh, look at him all these years later. He shows up at WrestleMania, and he's the most over guy on the card.
Yeah,
incredible. So, following a tour of Germany in April 1996, you're back in the States, and you begin working with Austin around the loop. Before we talk about that, Jake, I've got to ask you about something that will never ever come up on the podcast ever again. While you were in Germany, you worked with Isaac Yankem DDS, who would soon go on to become the fake Diesel before landing
Yeah.
on Kane. What did you think of Glenn as a performer, and what do you think about the Dennis gimmick?
I love the Dennis gimmick, man.
What?
I did. I can't tell you I didn't. But I knew that it wasn't a gimmick that would go to the top. You know, it was a ha-ha gimmick.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a Pat Patterson thing there, you know. Pat Patterson liked to have ha-ha gimmicks. And but I knew his work was solid. Later on, I would even go to Mexico with him.
That's right.
As a fake Diesel. And we spent time down there together. So I just told him, I said, brother, just keep doing what you're doing. You'll get your shot sooner or later.
How about that? The last thing I expected to hear today was I like you like the Dennis gimmick.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Well, I will say that, like, yep, it's corny and it's cheesy, but like his look kind of made it work. He had those like nasty teeth and just this big gross guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, gosh, it's I'm glad that he got out of that and landed on. I like the fake Diesel thing sucked too, so I'm glad he wound up landing on a gimmick that, you know, would ultimately get the guy in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he really hated doing that fake Diesel.
I know that Vince can be like vindictive and he wants to kind of get back at people, and Scott and Kevin had left and he's like, well, they're my characters, I can do it with anybody.
That's what he was trying to show him.
Well, didn't quite work out.
No.
Well, while we're talking about bad creative, I have to ask, you know, because you're on the creative team at the time, are you like questioning some of the ridiculous shit or just kind of going with the flow?
I am, and it got me a lot of heat too.
Really?
Yeah. I questioned a lot of stuff, and Vince a couple of times he'd just say, "Okay, that's it," and he'd tell everybody else to go home and say, "Jake, stay here. You're going to help me rewrite this whole TV."
Oh no!
So I would stay, and we'd rewrite the whole TV in a matter of minutes.
That's all it would take.
TV is not hard to write. If you just have a little common fucking sense. I don't know what it is about me, but I've always been able to do that. It doesn't take me any time to come up with an angle, to come up with anything. It's just an act for it I've had. You know, whether it be turning King Kong Bundy babyface, who does that? Yeah, I did.
On paper, it doesn't make sense, but yeah, it worked.
You goddamn right it worked. Because we made it believable.
Man, we referenced it last week on the show. I'm going to hit it one more time here because I'm guessing it's going to make the news. You on the creative team at AEW, God almighty, it's just thinking about the possibilities. Even like a Rampage, AEW Dark, if that were still around. Like, I would just love to see the stuff that you would put together there.
I would love to do it. I really would. But Tony's got a great team up there. They're working their asses off.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about that. And they, you know, when you're part of a creative team, you're going to have some stuff that misses. It's just a law of numbers. Not every one of them are going to be right. But I think it'd make his life easier and maybe give him more time to think outside the box.
Absolutely. You know, because I can only imagine when he's writing all that TV or at least overseeing all that TV, it's like some things are just going to fall through the cracks. They just are.
You just have to.
Right. And, you know, you've got all these different people that are on the roster and there's only so many TV slots to put them into. I think that, man, Tony Khan, if you're listening, we know you are. If you're listening, just give our man Jake a shot, will you? All right, let's get back on track. You're working with Steve, like I said, on the house show loop. So I've heard you say before in interviews that you were trying to help him kind of find himself, find his character at this time. Right. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, I just told him, you got to find something that you believe in. Because every word that you say, you got to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go out there and be the ringmaster because you hate that shit. You think it's ridiculous, and it is. And you can't be yourself. Why don't you just be yourself and then up it about 3 notches? And that's what he did.
I've heard him say that on interviews now. He's like, I'm just me, but with the volume turned up to 11.
Yeah, exactly.
man, incredible that you had your fingerprints on that.
Well,
Jake, that same night is the infamous MSG curtain call that you and I have discussed in the past. You're working with Austin in the Garden on that same night, and after Austin pinned you, he gets on the mic and calls you washed up and challenges you to another match, and then he pins you again. Meltzer commends you on your professionalism here and getting the young star over. Would that have been your idea to make Austin look so strong in the Garden?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't come up with that idea, but I was all for it.
Oh, okay. Do you recall who came to you with the idea?
No, I don't.
I'm
sure it was Vince.
It's a fascinating era for you because, you're coming in and every single time, I mean, we're going to see it in the clips. Anytime you do anything, it's like I said, I know that you weren't feeling your best, but man, the audience was just all over it. They loved you. They loved when you would hit the DDT and pin anybody. They would just go crazy when you'd walk out. But like all of the kind of finishes that you're getting when you're beating somebody, it's almost kind of like a little gotcha at the end after they kind of whooped your ass the whole time.
Yeah.
Now, what's the thinking there? Is that Vince? Is that you saying, "Hey, I'll put this guy over and then just get the win," or how does that go?
It's a lot of it had to do with me being so bad out of shape.
Okay.
I just couldn't go. There was nothing left. When you're 40 pounds overweight, your tank is just carrying all that extra weight, and you can't get up and move with those guys. So I just had them beat me down, keep me down, and then I would hit them with the hot DDT.
Gotcha. So the idea being that, like, if you're out of shape, you're blowing up right away, and if you're selling, that gives you an opportunity to recuperate.
Right. Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, like I said, you put Austin over in front of that MSG crowd. Can you tell our audience a little bit about the importance of getting over in New York City?
That's the one. You might not get over anywhere else, but if you get over in Madison Square Garden, you're set. That's just how important it is.
Man, it's you can't really say it much better or clearer than that. That audience, they're kind of renowned as the smart wrestling audience, and yeah, if they like you, you're doing something right.
Right.
Well, speaking of the MSG curtain call that night, Triple H was involved in the infamous moment. Hall and Nash are leaving. Shawn was the champion, so allegedly, all the heat went on Hunter. And rumor has it that he was originally scheduled to be the King of the Ring winner. And after that night, the plan was changed to Steve Austin. Being that you were in creative, Jake, can you tell us if that was in fact the case?
I don't know anything about that.
Oh, okay. So when it came to your role in creative, is it kind of like a in and out sort of deal because you're working as a talent?
Right.
Okay.
I was probably not even there.
Gotcha. When that choice was made.
Right. I don't think I was at all. No.
I see. Okay. Well, do you?
They already had me back out on the road.
Okay, so like even that night at MSG, it's not like you're hearing all the hubbub backstage. You're already just gone.
Right.
Do you remember hearing about it like the next day or the next time you were at
TV?
Yeah. And I mean, was it essentially all the other talent were fucking pissed about this thing?
Yeah, everybody was hot about that curtain call shit. Everybody. I remember Freddie Blassie just fucking losing it in the locker room.
Freddie Blassie?
Yeah.
Man, that kind of shit just would not have stood in his
era.
Oh
my God, man. It made everybody sick. I love those guys to death, but man, you fucking cocksuckers. That was fucked up.
I know that a lot of fans are kind of apologists for the moment nowadays just because like they are popular guys and they formed NWO and DX and like, they became really popular with the fans. However, just putting it into context for everybody, guys like Jake and Freddie Blassie, Gorilla Monsoon, all these people that would have been behind the scenes and been pissed off, that shit just would not have ever happened in the previous era.
Yeah. Can you see Bruno Sammartino doing that?
Oh my God. No. with the guy that he worked with earlier tonight.
Maybe him and Larry Zbyszko do that.
Oh, could you imagine that? They take like a bow together after the thing at Shea.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's
the whole idea about wrestling in a territory is that you leave it in better shape than it was when you got there.
Mm-hmm.
And by them doing that, they destroyed so much.
Yes,
they destroyed a lot. by doing that. So, yeah.
I know that today kayfabe is like, it's not really a thing, and everybody
It's
gets
gone, man.
Everybody gets to look behind the curtain. But I mean, back in those days, it was alive and well, and it was a lot of people viewed that not just as them breaking kayfabe and hurting the business, but like, hey, we're leaving, so here's a big fuck you, Vince.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to piss in your biggest market. That's why I can't believe Vince let it happen.
Hard to believe. I know that he wouldn't wind up giving Hall or Nash the best creative whenever they had eventually returned to the WWE, so maybe that was his little payback.
Yeah, of course.
All right, so Triple H is out, is King of the Ring winner, and Austin is in, where he'll deliver his famous promo. So the curtain call, maybe not the best piece of business that ever happened, but however, without it, there's no King of the Ring victory and no reason for Steve to utter his famous Austin 3:16 phrase to you. Jake, without it, do you still think that Steve would have risen to the heights that he did?
Oh, God, yeah. It's his work that got him over, not that fucking interview.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the interview was sweet and everything, man, but if you don't back it up with the work in the ring, you're history. Steve was a machine. He was a well-oiled machine, brother. And he could go. And he went.
I'm with you, man. I think he may have sold less T-shirts without the Austin 3:16 deal.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not.
But there was no stopping him with his rise to the top. With his promo ability, quick wit, man, he had it.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, Jake, we're here. It's round 1 of the King of the Ring tournament, and our first clip this week is yourself against the original winner of that tournament, Triple H.
WWF Raw, Hunter Hearst Helmsley against Jake the Snake Roberts, first round WWF King of the Ring tournament action. Ladies and gentlemen, next week we continue with the first round. Wait a minute, there it is! No! Nowhere! With DDT! Jake the Snake Roberts just caught Hunter Hearst Helmsley! No way! A cover! Yes! Oh my goodness! Jake the Snake Roberts has advanced, ladies and gentlemen! What an upset! He's going to be facing Bradshaw in quarter round action. And next week, right here, Owen Hart, the South Southwest King of Hearts, one-on-one against his former tag team championship partner, Yokozuna. And, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Snake's looking at Jenny.
Oh, Jenny, I think Hunter's going to need some extra special consoling this evening.
TLC.
Little TLC.
I can't believe it. I thought he had him. He was coming back strong.
Whoa. Oh, watch that now. Watch.
Oh, no. Look at that, Jenny. The Snake.
Yes, check the Snake Roberts. The look on Jenny's face, and if Helmsley wakes up.
Don't look, Jenny.
Oh, my goodness. Jake the Snake Roberts, victorious. Oh my goodness. Oh, well, anything can happen here in the World Wrestling Federation. Jake the Snake. Don't tell me. Well, next week, ladies and gentlemen, turn it to more World Wrestling Federation action right here on Raw.
Anything can happen in the World Wrestling Federation, including a snake attacking Triple H's penis.
Yeah.
Man, that was just great stuff, Jake. And a clean win over Triple H. I believe that was Jenny McCarthy who wound up being like an internet sensation. So just man, what a cool moment. And man, it's a decisive victory over a guy who had become, first one of the biggest stars in wrestling, and then is now one of the most powerful men in the business.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Pretty cool. What do you remember about working with a young Triple H, Jake?
Yeah, it was a pleasure, man. I had a great time in the ring with him. He was willing to listen. And I think I helped him a lot. I think I really did. I think I taught him a lot. I know we wrestled quite a bit when we went overseas, too.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, in Africa.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So along the way, is he kind of picking your brain?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, he had the blue blood gimmick at the time, which, wasn't exactly hitting. It was kind of cool, though. Pretty unique gimmick.
Yeah.
And he was trained by Killer Kowalski, and, we always hear that he studied a lot of film on guys like Harley Race, et cetera, et cetera. He had a good look. So, I mean, at this time, as you're kind of teaching him and bringing him along, do you see that kind of main event potential?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, no doubt. Triple H, he had that knack about him, man. He had that charisma thing down. That's why that blue blood gimmick worked so well for him, because he had charisma.
Mm-hmm. Member of the Clique, obviously. I think he was a little bit less of a disruptor than the rest of the gang.
Yeah.
No issues between you and Triple H
No,
ever?
not at all. Not at all. Always got along fabulously with him.
How about to this day, Jake? Do you still have a good relationship with him?
I don't talk to him much, but when we do, we get along great.
Hey, man, that's fantastic. I know that you're busy, and God knows he's busy, so you can't always catch up. But good that when you do, you guys are at least getting along well.
Absolutely, man.
Well, Jake, your next opponent in the tournament is a young JBL. Working here is Justin Hawk Bradshaw with Dutch Mantell as his manager. Let's drop in on the final minutes of that match.
If anything, has a certain inspiration, indeed, going for him that no one else in the WWF has today. Coming off the rope, now there's a kick to the chest area. However, didn't slow down the victory. A rangy youngster, and wait, maybe this will. Jake peppering with a left and a series of right. Jake now, and there's that. No, got from behind. Oh, down to the canvas, and that could spell defeat for Jake the Snake.
Bradshaw showing a great deal of resiliency. Remember, this big, powerful youngster is just this victory away we're seeing right here this week from colliding with Vader.
What a matchup that would be. Oh, off the rope now, and messing with the lariat. Oh, he put everything behind it. Jake the Snake Roberts now. Go ahead. The grab. There it is. There it is. He got it. He got it. He got it. Jake the Snake down with a DDT. He can't cover him. He can't cover him. Jake has nothing left. Wait a minute. There it is. Two. No. Gotcha. What a victory for Jake the Snake Roberts. And Jake perhaps suffering the consequences of that victory. But nonetheless, Jake will advance. And oh my goodness. That's a dubious distinction, because now Jake the Snake has to lock up with the man they call Vader.
Jake Roberts and Vader have made it to the King of the Ring on June 23rd and will collide in the semifinals.
All right, there was Jake. In listening to that or watching it back, I do have to ask, this is something we've never talked about. Vince McMahon on commentary. What did you think?
I thought he did a good job.
Yeah?
Yeah. I enjoyed his stuff.
I've heard him get criticized as being a little bit too over the top with the way he does his inflections and whatnot. But
he gets up there. He gets up there. He's crawling over with one leg over already.
There's something, I don't know. It's probably just because I was a kid at the time. There's something cool and nostalgic about it whenever I hear Vince on commentary. Well, Jake, you recently shared that very video on your social media, and Bradshaw quote tweeted it with this response: "Jake is one of the best minds ever in the business. Was a pleasure and honor to share the ring with a legend." So pretty cool. JBL showing you some respect there.
Yeah, that's sweet.
But rumor has it at the time that maybe you didn't quite enjoy sharing the ring with him. Can you talk to us a little bit about it?
Well, I'd had neck surgery. And he got me with that clothesline one time, brother, and I went numb for about 20 minutes.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was scary. And I didn't ever want it again. Bottom line, there's no need for a clothesline like that, because you hit me with that, I can't take a good bump, because I'm going to go numb. I'm trying to protect myself.
Right.
So I'm anticipating it and everything else. I'm not going into it naturally. I'm not going into it relaxed. So I can take a good bump. But as far as heat, there was ever no heat between us.
Oh, good. Okay.
No. There was never. I didn't like what he did, but there was no heat.
Gotcha. All right. So, I mean, he's coming at you pretty rough. Are you now?
That was his style.
Yeah, and look, he kind of learned. He's from that Stan Hansen school of hey, lay it in, pal. But man, some of that shit looks brutal. And to your point, if he's coming at you with a normal clothesline, you can actually take the time and sell it and make it look great.
Absolutely. But if I'm trying to check my body parts to see what still works, are you kidding me?
Well, Dutch Mantell said on his podcast that you came to him to ask him to tell his guy to lighten the fuck up. Any truth to that?
Yeah.
And
Mantell would stir the pot a little bit,
Really?
He was telling the kid to lay him in.
did you have issues with Dutch from the past or something?
No. I think
You-
there's always been a little jealousy between Dutch and I.
Really?
Yeah, on his side.
Okay. Well, why do you suppose that is?
I don't know, man. I think Dutch thinks he should have been a lot more than he ever was. I don't know. I might be completely missing the boat, but he just seemed to be unhappy with the positions he was put in most of his career.
Yeah, it's and look, he's not shy. He's very outspoken on his podcast nowadays and on social media. Says what he wants to say.
Yeah.
And look, you're the same way. And if that's your impression of him, then that's it. It's you're welcome to it, for crying
I
out
mean, I've
loud.
always liked him, but that has nothing to do with it.
Now, let me ask this: after you have that conversation, like, hey, dude, why don't you ease up? Is JBL willing to, or is he still bringing it?
Still bringing it.
That's just him, huh?
Yeah. I guess so.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett, here to tell you a little bit about the nonstop savings happening over here at SaveWithConrad.com. Are high credit card balances holding you down on the card? If you're looking to give a guitar shot to your credit card debt or give your home the push it deserves with some upgrades and remodeling, you need to go to SaveWithConrad.com. That's right, SaveWithConrad.com. Conrad and his team are routinely helping My World listeners save $500, $600, $700, even $800 a month. Oh, did I mention you get to skip your next 2 house payments? Take a cue from The Last Outlaw, because if anybody knows how to get the bag, it's me. Strut on over to SaveWithConrad.com today and see how much money you can save for free. That's right, it's SaveWithConrad.com.
NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Woo!
All right, let's move on to the King of the Ring pay-per-view itself. It's in front of a crowd of nearly 9,000 in Milwaukee, and you're pulling double duty this night. Your first match is short, and it's probably a good thing because you're in there with an absolute road grader in Vader.
Yeah.
Let's check this clip out.
Next is Nick Roberts being set up. Vader has dominated the match. Here he comes in. Again, hesitating just a little bit.
Take advantage, Jake. You got to take advantage now while you can.
Here it comes, DDT. Yeah!
Oh, my God.
He got it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, wait a minute. The official.
Vader grabbed the referee going down. He never grabbed the referee. I didn't see that.
Certainly did.
I think Jake Roberts shoved the referee out of the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the referee's decision.
Oh, no!
Oh, my goodness.
That is a travesty. You can't look at Jim Cornette. He's enraged.
Wait a minute.
You can't manhandle a referee like that. My God, what an upset.
Look out! The match is over. Come on. Vader. Here he comes again.
There's no reason for this.
Vader lost this match as a result of a disqualification. He was going down to the DDT, grabbed the official, and brought him down with him. Whether it was inadvertent or not, I guess we'll never know, but the official made his decision.
Vader's got a very bad temper, and I don't blame him. He's just been robbed of the King of the Ring. He was one of the hopefuls, not an old washed-up has-been like Jake Roberts.
Now, wait a minute, look at this.
No, come on. Hurt him. Hurt him. Jake's helpless. He's helpless here.
Down, right into the ribs.
Well, he already had injured ribs previously. And what Big Van Vader has just done is totally destroyed Jake Roberts' chance of even going on to the next match of the King of the Ring. He's in no shape to go anywhere, except for to a hospital. Jake may have suffered some serious internal injuries. He's holding his side, he's holding his ribs and his lower abdomen here. He's done.
And Vader, a real powder keg. Oh, wait a minute, look at that. He just shipped Cornette back. Vader's in sits. He had his heart set on winning the King of the Ring tournament. And now Vader's out of it as a result of a disqualification.
He was robbed.
Jake being helped back. And you might be right, Owen. Jake the Snake may not be in any condition to continue on.
All right, so there it was, yourself and Big Vader. My goodness. So Jake, you had just talked about here with Bradshaw where like you couldn't really sell properly because he was just coming at you. And You could see when your back is turned to Vader and you're kind of going for the bag, you can see, he's coming, and you can like see you tense up like this big motherfucker's bringing it.
He's gonna mow me down, man.
Right.
He's gonna crush me into that fucking corner. You know, he broke my sternum twice.
And that would have been after this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. God. And so, I mean, even at that point, you must have worked with him already, because like, Jesus, this big bastard is gonna bring it hard. I mean, so you're selling the ribs as part of the storyline here. It's limiting your physicality for the main event. And yeah, like we mentioned, he's legitimately going to crack or break your sternum here with a splash. And you'll wind up telling the office that you don't want to work with him. At this point, though, he's got a ton of big star potential coming off of his WCW run. Did you see a bright future in him with the company, or did you suspect he'd fizzle out the way that he did?
I think I knew that he'd fizzle out.
Really?
He had such a temper.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was temperamental, man. I mean, he'd pout. He would actually pout, if he didn't get his way. And that's no fucking way to work.
No, a big guy like that pouting, it's just, God,
he had the look, he had the motor, he could have done it all. But his childish ways got him in trouble.
Rumor also has that they were trying to get him to shake off a couple LBs in those days, because he had just gotten away from him. And it's like, man, I know that a lot of people like to blame Shawn Michaels and they like to blame Vince and say like they didn't take full advantage of Vader, and there's an argument to be made there. However, I do think that like Vader, some of it's got to be on him.
Yeah, you're damn right it is. Again, he was childish.
Well, your match with Austin is up next, and he's just returning from the hospital due to a severely busted lip at the hands of Mark Marrow. Jake, what do you remember about this match on a night that history was made?
Well, they were worried that he wasn't going to get back from the hospital in time.
Which would have made you the immediate winner, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Then I went out and cut the promo on myself.
That's right. A lot of people forget that you set him up for this whole thing, because you came out and did a promo where you were talking about John 3:16 before you went to the ring. So really, what he said and what made him all this money with T-shirt sales is really a direct result of something that you brought up in the first place.
Yeah, damn right. He was smart enough to grab a hold of it and run.
Now, when you get into the ring with Austin here on this night, what's that like? Is he kind of full bore?
Oh, he's good, man. He was good. He knew how much I could give, and he let me go with that, He knew how much I could give.
I've always kind of heard about Austin that he's like, no matter what, he's just like move ahead, continuous action, continually coming at you. Are you doing anything to kind of like slow him down?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I leaned on him a lot.
Well, hell, especially for the second match of the night for you, it's like, man, it's you got to do something to fucking keep him in check. All right, well, we've got the clip. It's our final one of the week. Let's have a look.
Monsoon has been known to he's notorious for making stupid decisions.
Oh, come on, that's not true.
Oh, yes, it is. He's done it to me. I can verify that.
Oh, Jake's gonna fight with every breath, every ounce of heart. He's got something left in him. Wait a minute. Don't count him out. Jake the Snake.
Even throwing a punch from Jake the Snake Roberts has got to hurt himself. Even when he's throwing the punches, it hurts.
Look, wide open.
You can imagine every one of those blows. It's like thunder and lightning right into his belly every time he moves.
And look at this. Austin ripping off the tape from Jake the Snake and driving the forearm down into the rib area. What kind of competitor is this? What kind of a man is this?
Well, Jake Roberts had a choice. He didn't have to come out here.
Yeah, but you don't have to do this.
This is the king of the ring. He'll do anything it takes to win.
Gorilla Monsoon is coming. He's going to stop this.
This one may be over. This one may be over right here now. I think that's the right thing to do. Call it all. Don't let Jake sustain any serious injury.
That's right.
Call it all.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, unrelenting. And if he doesn't stop this thing, I can tell you, Monsoon will disqualify Stone Cold and make Jake the Snake the king.
Well, why should Stone Cold stop? He hasn't heard a bell ring. He's fair game until the bell rings, unless Jake Roberts wants to quit.
The fourth
prestigious King of the Ring, Stone Cold Steve Austin, an incredible victory.
The first thing I want to be done is to get that piece of crap out of my ring. Don't just get him out of the ring, get him out of the WWF. Because I've proved, son, without a shadow of a doubt, you ain't got what it takes anymore. You sit there and you thump your Bible and you say your prayers, and it didn't get you anywhere. Talk about your Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says I just whipped your ass.
There it is.
There it is. Iconic
Yeah.
moment in wrestling. Just, man, so cool, and so cool that you had the opportunity. Hard to take greater advantage of Steve's stardom than WWE did following that, right?
Oh, they did a good job of it. They
Man.
did a good job of it.
Man, the shirts and whatnot. I've heard before though that you had an idea for a T-shirt that never
Oh yeah,
came to fruition.
Austin's 10 Commandments: Thou shalt not kill unless thou art pissed. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife unless she's really hot. Shall honor thy mother and father unless they're complete jack-offs. Right on down the line.
Man, a missed opportunity there. That's a great shirt.
Damn right it would have been.
We might have to make Jake's 10 Commandments for our
there we
merch
go.
page. Let's give that some thought. Jake, you've had the opportunity to work with some of the greatest stars in the history of wrestling, including some of the biggest mainstream stars of all time in Hogan and Austin. The debate among fans all these years is which of the two is a bigger star. So I'd like your opinion, Jake. Bigger star.
Austin.
Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Now, just based on what, popularity?
Based on popularity and what he can do in the ring.
And how about his ability to last all these years? He can just disappear from wrestling, and then he shows back up, and bam, he's a main eventer.
Right back at it.
Yep. When you worked with Hulk in '86, your popularity among the fans kind of overwhelmed his when the two of you stepped into the ring. That put a stop to the whole thing. Here you are 10 years later working with Austin, and, you know, while you said you weren't at your best here, the audience still loved you. You're helping him get over here, but was there any concern about him getting go-home heat with such a brutal attack on you?
No. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
That was the way to do it.
Yeah, I have to say, it's hard to do it much better than we did. Jake, we're going to hit a couple fan questions, and then we're going to get out of here.
All right.
Yambag Jones asks, would you rather 30 minutes with Vader or 30 minutes with Warrior? That's tough.
How about 30 minutes jacking off? How about that?
that definitely sounds like a better option than having to work with one of those two.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. Well, look, Warrior was a goof, but I don't think he's going to fucking break your ribs, so maybe that's the path.
I'd have probably went with Warrior. I could have blown him up.
That's right. Lean on his big ass. Well, actually, speaking of Warrior, the next question, Adam Arkman asks, did Warrior try to approach you at all during this time backstage? Because he was back with the company too.
No.
Never once.
No.
Man, it's got to just be awkward seeing him backstage and just kind of keeping your head down.
Bite my lip.
God almighty. I'm sure you wanted to crack him then too.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did, but I didn't.
Last question. Michael Hawkins asks, the entire Austin 3:16 promo is a play on your recent turn to Christianity. Did you take any umbrage with Steve's take on your faith at the time? And do you still currently practice Christianity?
Yes, of course I still practice it. And Steve Austin, it didn't bother me, man. It's a business. We just played off what was out there.
Mm-hmm.
It was brilliant on his part.
No doubt about it. It's, you kind of brought around you were the first anti-hero in wrestling, but I think that Steve Austin kind of took the formula that you created and brought it up to a whole new level.
Absolutely.
Okay, guys, let's take a quick break to talk about our new sponsor, Tecovas. We all have something that we like to wear that we know we look good in every single time we put it on, right? Well, for me, it's going to be my newest addition to my wardrobe, and that's the Tecovas boots I've been rocking all around the Pittsburgh area. You can call me Urban Cowboy Pal because I'm walking around Pittsburgh in these things, and they look and feel absolutely amazing. You can't have a good time in bad boots. That's why you need Tecovas like I've got and like Jake has. You know that if Jake the Snake Roberts is rocking these boots, they're good, because Jake was no stranger to wearing the cowboy boots back in the day, and he still wears them. He swears by these Tecovas, and you will too. Tecovas crafts quality Western boots for everyone, from generational ranchers and lifelong cowboys to first-time boot buyers like me. They were born in Texas in 2015, and Tecovas makes it easy for anyone to find their perfect boot. Every one of Tecovas boots are handcrafted with over 200 meticulous steps for broken-in comfort, right out of the box. So whether you're looking at a long day or a big night out on the town, your Tecovas are built to last and to impress. Guys, I've gotten so many compliments since starting to walk around wearing these. People in Pittsburgh are stopping what they're doing, asking me where I got them, and I'm hooking them up. You guys have heard of Esquire magazine, right? They love them, and they say there's a reason we keep coming back to Tecovas. There's really something to be said for a piece of clothing, accessory, footwear that makes you feel confident, makes you feel good about yourself, and that's what these Tecovas are like. You know, not only do they make me a little bit taller, but they just look good. And seriously, I can't tell you how many people are stopping me and commenting on these boots, asking where they can get them, asking who made them, and the answer is Tecovas. If you're wondering whether or not you can pull off a pair of boots, the answer is yes. It all comes down to great quality and great style, and Tecovas has both. And guess what? If for whatever reason you don't like them, they've got the best in the West guarantee, which means you get free returns and exchanges for 30 days. There's no risk to trying out Tecovas. These things just feel right on your feet, right out of the box, and every stitch is on point. Tecovas boots are made for a good time and for a long time. They're durable, they're stylish, and they're something that I know you are going to love adding to your closet. And hey, look, if you get the chance to go in person to a Tecovas store to try on these boots, you've got to go, because they have complimentary drinks and hospitality. Come on now, that's pure Texas charm. There's no risk with that best in the West guarantee. Come on, it's time. Make the jump. Give them a try. Right now, you can get 10% off at tecovas.com/snakepit when you sign up for email and texts. That's 10% off at tecovas.com/snakepit. One last time, that's tecovas.com/snakepit. See the site for details. Tecovas, point your toes west. We are coming off the heels of King of the Ring 1996 and a really huge moment from your run with the WWF that year with the Austin 316 promo. Jake, you were set to take on Mankind at International Incident, but missed the pay-per-view, and Henry Godwinn is going to come in and replace you for the match. There's a video out there floating around of a great promo that you cut on the way to International Incident, and you'll say on TV after the pay-per-view that you missed because of an injury. Jake, do you remember if that was the real reason or just storyline?
I cannot remember. I can't remember.
We're talking about 28 years ago, so it's certainly understandable. I have to believe that after King of the Ring, you had worked with Vader there.
That might be a problem I had.
Yeah, after working with Vader, I have a feeling that you may have been injured.
Yeah, I think I was.
Well, Mankind pretty hot during this time, coming off a win against The Undertaker, which is something that rarely happened in this era. He made his debut the night after WrestleMania 12, where he attacked Taker and left him laying in the middle of the aisle after a flying elbow from the apron to the floor. One of his most, probably one of his most spectacular, but also most damaging to his body type moves. That elbow drop he used to do down to the floor, which is crazy, landing on your hip like that. You had spent time with Mick in WCW a few years prior to this, of course. What did you think of his new dark character here on the biggest stage in all of wrestling?
Oh, I loved the character, man. I thought it was awesome. Really did. I thought he played it well.
He did. It's interesting. It's kind of a weird name, kind of a weird look, but like, man, that kind of dark, interesting character, all of a sudden it gives this guy some new layers and, a good way to repackage, reinvent Cactus Jack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, he's coming in with a nice push here out of the gate. When you met Mick, did you view him as a guy with the potential to do big things with the right creative, or did you not see that in him right away?
Oh yeah, I knew right away. When I met him in WCW that he's going to be something special.
Was it his ring skill or like his mic work, or what stuck out about Mick?
It was just his being, man. Just the way he carried himself and his look. He has a dirty, nasty look,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of scary.
He does, and that's probably another reason why the Mankind character really kind of jived well with him.
Yep.
I know that you were on the creative team at the time, and it does make me wonder, do you recall if the plan was for yourself and Mick to have more of a program, or was this just kind of like a one-off on the way to you and Lawler?
It was a one-off.
Oh, okay. Now, yourself and Mick, it kind of cut from the same cloth from like a promo type standpoint in many regards. He tends to be a little bit louder, but he'll go dark and all that stuff. Did you and Mick ever kind of discuss promos?
Sure we did.
And was he like asking your advice?
My 2 cents worth, and I believe I directed him on a few promos.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you were literally behind the camera in like the boiler room?
Yeah.
How about that? I didn't know that that was part of your duties there.
Yeah. Boiler room is exactly where we did it.
That's amazing. Now, is this your first kind of foray into being behind the camera and telling people what to do?
Well, I'd helped several people before, but yeah, this was first big time.
Man, that's really incredible that you did that. Do you remember if you were behind the camera for any other talents moving forward?
I was, but I can't remember who it was.
You know, the fact that Vince, who's like a notorious micromanager of everything that goes on his TV, is saying like, "Hey Jake, can you come in and help with creative? Hey Jake, can you help us shoot a vignette?" Like, it does really go to show that the guy, for all of his faults, he had a lot of faith in you.
Yeah, he liked my work, man. He just didn't like me.
Now, are you saying that tongue in cheek, like he didn't like me, like you didn't get the kind of money that you wanted, or did he? Do you feel like Vince McMahon legitimately did not like you?
No, I think he liked me a lot. He just couldn't figure me out.
I gotcha. So a lot of talents are kind of predictable. It's like you give them money, you give them good creative, they're pretty satisfied. But a lot of time, you were a little bit more of a deep thinker, right?
Yeah, I was. Sure was.
Well, Jim Ross has said before when talking about this period that he can't picture a scenario where experienced veterans like yourself and Lawler would have anything other than good matches. With that being said, do you feel like maybe things would have gone better if you had gone into a program with Mankind here during this time instead?
Well, I know the Lawler thing sucked in a big way,
Mm-hmm.
and for many different reasons. It was just bullshit. And even Lawler told me later that he hated doing it, did not want to be a part of it, but it was Vince's twisted mind that enjoyed that.
It was tasteless, yes. And we're gonna get into that here in a minute, in a little bit more detail, so that people who aren't really familiar with the story can familiarize themselves before maybe going back and watching the match. Mick has said that the two of you traveled and shared hotel rooms at times during this period. Would you say that you considered Mick a friend during this period?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got along well.
And again, in his own right, Mick is, he's spent a lot of years in wrestling to this point. He's like, he's made it to the biggest stage in wrestling. So obviously he's really got something and he's starting to kind of come into his own. But that being said, you have a big experience edge on him. Would you say that Mick was kind of picking your brain during these road trips?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we talked a lot, man, which I enjoy doing. And it's my luck to be able to absorb so much from so many different great pieces of talent that I passed along the way.
Mm-hmm.
My duty to share that. And I shared a lot with Mick.
You can definitely see it in his work. So it's interesting to watch him as he progresses during this period too, because again, there's real shades of 1991 sinister Jake Roberts in there.
Yeah, you can see it.
Now, on the flip side of that, Jake, would you say, because I think it was actually you who told me before that as a wrestler, you never really stop learning. You're always picking up new stuff along the way. Would you say that Mick taught you anything or showed you anything?
Yeah, he showed me a lot of what not to do. Any of that high impact shit.
Are you trying to get in his ear, if you will? I know he's only got one ear. Are you trying to get in his ear a little bit about hey, brother, why don't you try to extend your fucking career a little bit?
I believe I told him he should extend his life a little bit.
Yeah.
Career. Because he was doing some of that silly shit, some of that crazy shit. But he was doing what he thought he had to do to keep that level for him.
Stay over.
Yeah.
Jake, have you ever seen Mick do his Nestea plunge where he's on the outside of the apron and falls flat back to the outside of the ring?
No.
So have you ever heard about this bump that he was doing?
No.
He would do that regularly during his time in WCW, and I believe did it a few times when he was in WWE. But it's notable in WCW during that period because, again, Bill Watts came in and said, like, you don't have mats on the outside. This is wrestling. And he pulled up those mats, so it's bare concrete. And Mick was flat backing from the ring to the floor. I mean, holy shit. How is this guy still alive?
Got one on me, brother.
Is there any amount of money that somebody could offer you to take a flat back like that?
No, there's no reason to do it.
There is not. You get a big ooh and ah from the audience, and then you move on with the match. No, thank you.
Somebody in the audience is trying to figure out how we fake that.
Yep, they're always like, oh, these guys know how to fall. It's like, oof, can't really fake that one, brother. You know, you can tuck your chin so your head doesn't bounce, but you're still flat backing on concrete from whatever 3 feet up.
Concrete from 10 feet.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Last thing on Mick, in your opinion, more money in Mankind character or him as Cactus Jack?
Mankind.
I'm with you. I like Cactus Jack, but Mankind kind of popped off the screen a little more. The Monday Night Raw after International Incident on July 22nd, you'll do a phone call in on commentary, and Lawler and Austin will both come after you verbally and say that you'd been drinking, and that's why you were unable to work. So this is incredibly tasteless, obviously, in my opinion. I think it's bullshit, and it's stupid to say stuff like that about somebody who's a recovering alcoholic, but it's the direction they decided to take. Can you tell us how this particular creative was greenlit or who pitched it?
I have no idea. It was brought to me, and I'm like, oh, hell no. And I can't believe I did it. I can't believe I let it go.
How much, like, nudging or prodding did it take for you to agree?
A lot.
Yeah. I mean, so blurring reality was becoming increasingly common during this period. Was there part of you that thought maybe it was a good way to get sympathy on your character?
No, it's not. That's not what I was thinking.
Let's take a minute to talk about Lawler. You know, when did you and Jerry first come across paths or come across each other? It had to be prior to '96, right?
Oh, yeah. We come across each other in the late 70s.
Wow, that early?
Yeah.
Do you remember the circumstances?
Yeah, I went to Memphis and starved for 3 weeks.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Was this with Nick Goulas?
No. This was with Jeff Jarrett, or Jerry Jarrett, and Lawler.
I had no idea that you had worked with Jerry and Lawler.
Yeah, I sure did. I went and lasted 3 weeks, and I went to Jarrett and told him that I needed to give my notice. They said, well, you just got here. I said, yeah, but I didn't bring enough money to stay.
You know, we've all heard mixed things over the years about what they were paying people in that territory, the CWA. Jake, can you enlighten us on how much you made in 3 weeks there?
Oh, in 3 weeks, probably about $600.
Holy shit.
In 3 weeks.
That is not enough money.
No.
Like,
I think my lowest payoff was $15, and my average payoff was $25.
That is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
To go out there and work a match and take bumps, put your life at risk, and somebody hands you $15 afterwards. What's your reaction when you get handed this money the first time?
I just shook my head, man, walked away.
Have you ever been paid with like a hot dog? We always hear about that.
No.
Well, there's a plus. I've heard that some guys were starving so bad in those days they'd get like a 3 hot dog payoff, and they would actually be a little bit excited, like, "All right, got some food."
Wow.
Yeah.
I believe
So,
it.
man, that's a tough way to make a living. But so, man, I'm in shock that you were in Memphis at all. I had no idea that that was a thing. Uh, and actually, now that I think of it, though, when we did the episode about November to Remember, when Tommy Dreamer filled in, he told a story. Let's see if you remember this, where the angle is he's in the ring with Jerry Lawler, and the lights go out. And when the lights come back on, Lawler's down, and there's Jake the Snake Roberts in ECW knocked him down. And Tommy told the story that when the lights were out, he heard Lawler give a big oof, like he heard like all the wind get knocked out of him. And then when Lawler's laying down, he's laying down legitimately selling. Tommy asked you afterwards about it, and apparently you said that's for some shitty payoffs. And now it's all the pieces are coming together. Is that a true story?
No.
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 Man, I wanted it to be true.
I'd like for it to be true, but it wasn't.
You know, when Tommy said that on the show, I was like, he has to be mistaken because I don't think Jake ever worked in that territory, but here he did. So I was like, oh my gosh, all the puzzle pieces are fitting together, but maybe not so much.
No, that never happened, bro.
Oh, all right. Well, as a worker, promoter, commentator, promo, you know, Jerry is really, really highly regarded by people, even despite the shitty payoffs that a lot of people got. A lot of folks will look back and say, like, hey, I really made my bones in Jerry's territory.
Yeah.
Would you say you shared those sentiments about Jerry and his work?
His work, yes. I wasn't there long enough to enjoy anything good.
Yeah, from the promoter standpoint, no way.
Yeah.
But worker and commentator, promo, all that?
Yeah, he's number one.
Prior to this, did you ever work a match with Jerry?
Yes, I had.
Okay. Was that in Georgia?
Yes.
I thought so, because I knew that he would stop by there every once in a while.
Yep.
They always talk about, you know, the difference between Northern wrestling, Southern wrestling. Memphis wrestling is its own thing, apparently. Did you notice a big difference in, like, how you had to work?
No, I just took it my way.
Okay, so 2 ring veterans, but you...
I was booking it, and I was beating his ass.
So you were presumably calling it in the ring, too?
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta be that way, especially if you're the booker, right?
Yep.
Well, returning to the build to SummerSlam, WWF uses Aldo Montoya as a stand-in for Lawler to work with him leading up to the event. And on the August 5th Superstars, Lawler defeated Montoya after hitting 2 pile drivers. And following the match, Lawler made Montoya drink an entire bottle of Jim Beam till officials pulled him away from the Montoya. So for fans who might not know, Aldo would go on to perform in ECW as Just Incredible, where he would eventually capture the promotion's world title. Montoya is said to have been a friend of the Click, but you'd work against him in ECW just 2 years later at November to Remember, the pay-per-view we just talked about. What did you think about him and, you know, what he would become there is Just Incredible?
Yeah, I like Just Incredible, man. We spent some time together. I've tried to help him with his path to sobriety. I believe he's doing a better job of it than he was. But he was certainly a talent.
Now, a lot of people would say that it looked like Aldo Montoya was wearing a very colorful jockstrap on his head. What did you think of that character?
It kind of sucked.
It really sucks.
Yeah.
Which was illustrated well whenever he'd go to ECW and kind of do his own thing. And it's like, oh, okay, I like this guy. You know, I didn't like Aldo Montoya, but Just Incredible's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome to hear you've been helping him out, though, Jake. When is the last time you spoke to Justin?
It's been a few years, man.
Oh, okay. Well, hoping that he's doing well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Following this, you would once again get called to Monday Night Raw, and you'd vow to get revenge. Montoya worked the house show loop, presumably in your spot, wrestling Lawler and Stone Cold. You were often in Montoya's corner for these matches. In many of them, Lawler defeated Montoya with your DDT. When facing Stone Cold, Montoya often lost, and then you would get involved with the Snake following the match. Before SummerSlam, WWF ran MSG on August 9th. The event drew 14,000 fans with over 11,000 fans paying for the event. So things are going pretty well, even though they're losing the Monday Night Wars at this point. In the match that was supposed to be on pay-per-view, Mankind is going to defeat you in 37 seconds after attacking you on the outside and then putting you in the mandible claw once in the ring. A few things about this show, Jake. The Garden, it's considered home base for the WWF during this time, so these shows are really important for business. There's also a narrative out there that working MSG was kind of like reaching the pinnacle of your profession during this time. This was obviously not your first rodeo there, but was it special for you anytime you got to work in that building?
Oh, absolutely, man. What a pleasure. I remember one time, though, we were there and I was getting ready to go to the ring. And there was this hallway that you went down. And behind you, there was an elevator, a freight elevator, not a regular elevator, a freight elevator.
Whoa.
And just as I'm getting ready to go down there, and they got a camera on me, the elevator starts opening up, and about 7 people come off. And a couple of them are just ginormous black guys,
Mm-hmm.
And I started screaming, "Get the fuck out of here. You can't be here, man. We're going live. We're going live. Move, move, move." So they moved because I went through quite a tirade. I went ahead and went to the ring and did my thing. And when I came back, I run into one of the big guys. And he goes, "Hey, man, I'm sorry we got in your way, but Sugar Ray didn't know that." And I'm like, "Sugar Ray?" "Yeah, that was Sugar Ray Leonard you were screaming at."
Holy shit. So between that and I believe it was Robert Plant before.
Yeah,
Man, you've kind of stepped in it backstage with the celebrities a couple times.
I have, man.
And actually, now that I think of it, didn't you have a little thing with Joan Rivers too?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, hilarious that you would always find yourself in those situations.
Yeah, I'd step right in it, bro.
I've also heard a lot of people say that the Garden is, for lack of a better way to put it, kind of a shithole. Did you feel that way?
No.
The
No.
people were saying that like backstage, like the accommodations, locker rooms, just like the age of the building, it just wasn't a well kept building. But you didn't feel that way about it?
Yeah, it was old. It was old. But, I'm not a prima donna. And I've dressed in worse places.
And it's the fucking Garden, man. It's a big, really big deal to be there. And look, I know that you didn't always have happy memories there. I believe that's a site where Lanny Poffo would fuck up your kidneys
Yeah.
really bad. Do you have a favorite memory of working in that building?
No, I can't remember, bro. I can't remember.
You've been there like a million times, so it's probably hard to pick one.
What happened there, it was pretty damn good.
Do you think this quick match was designed to protect you because you had been out of action for a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, SummerSlam 1996 took place at the Gund Arena with 17,000 fans in attendance, with 14,000 paying. So it's a $413,000 gate. So again, it's kind of a little up and down right now for the WWF. Despite the previous 2 or 3 years where business was down, the WWF enjoyed a near sellout for this one. They've been getting edgier as the year went on with the wrestling product. Did you feel that the business as a whole was moving in the right direction with this kind of edgy take on things?
It was.
I mean, it's interesting because I always hear guys from your generation of wrestlers say like, shit really went off the rails whenever they started, whenever the Monday Night Wars started, and then they started going back and forth with like this kind of, tits and ass type product.
Ridiculous crap, man. It was just ridiculous bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff was just like a bit too much, but again, I guess it's just what you've got to do to keep that 90s audience entertained, right?
A lot of it was wasted fucking airtime.
That's for damn sure. Which I'm sure we'll get into on another Jake Watches Wrestle crap, which we'll do coming up. In the middle of the card, you'd take on Lawler and you'd lose in just under 4 minutes. You'd tease the DDT a couple times, but ultimately Jerry would get the win by hitting you in the chest with a giant liquor bottle, which again, just fucking stupid. And even more stupid, of course, he pours the bottle on you before Mark Henry makes the save. So Jake, we've discussed this before, but let's make this the ultimate account of the events. Was there actually liquor in this bottle?
Yes. Yes.
And were you clued in on the fact that it would be happening?
Nope. I went ballistic.
Yeah. Are you putting the heat on Lawler or the office?
I went after Lawler and the office at the same time.
What kind of stuff were you saying to them?
Get fucked, you motherfuckers. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty disgusting, man.
Well, the match that was voted worst in this card was the main event between Shawn Michaels and Vader. This has become one of the more infamous incidents of the time period and really illustrates what a menace Shawn had become behind the scenes. Bruce Pritchard stated on his podcast that this was supposed to be the first of 3 big-time pay-per-view matches between Shawn and Vader, but because of what happened in the ring, the WWF inserted Sid into the Vader spot. And to remind the audience, at one point in the match, Shawn comes off the top rope for a move, but Vader is not in position. Shawn lands right next to Vader and kicks him in the head several times, audibly yelling "move" at him. We have the 20-second clip of the incident, and it's our only one this week. Let's have a look.
All right, now's the time to build that momentum. Quicken the pace.
Go to the top. Here he goes. Shawn Michaels for an opportunity to win this match.
Take some chances and go for it. Well, you've got the opportunity.
Michaels on the top. Michaels kicking Vader.
All right, so a short clip, but a lot happened there, Jake.
Yeah.
What are your initial thoughts when you see that shit?
Pretty sickening, man.
This is on pay-per-view live at the second biggest show of the year. I mean, Jake, in all your years of wrestling, have you ever seen somebody throw a temper tantrum in the middle of the ring like this?
Nope.
It's insanity. And I know that you had your share of frustrations with Vader as well, and you weren't a fan of his work or attitude. If this is you in the ring with Vader and he fucks up in the ring, how are you handling it? Do you bitch him in the back or punish him by blowing him up, or what do you do?
No, I don't fuck him up, man. I don't physically abuse him.
Right.
There's no need for that.
I mean, you handle that stuff in the back, right? You have a conversation with him afterwards.
Absolutely.
If you're in control of the WWF at the time, would you make the same decision Vince did here to scrap the feud between these two, or are you telling these guys to just get their shit together and coexist?
Absolutely. Get your shit together and work it out. You're professionals. Act like professionals.
I guess I've got to follow that up with this question. Again, if you're in charge, is Shawn Michaels fired after this incident, even though he's one of your top draws?
No, he's not fired, but he's fined heavily.
Jake, what's going on, brother?
Just buzzing, man, drinking my coffee.
Oof, I just had some coffee myself, and I'm flying high and ready for a fun episode this week, my friend.
Yeah, 96, man, that was a good year.
It was a good year, and it was good to see you teaming up with a guy who is going to go on to not only be one of the biggest stars in the history of wrestling, but he was also going to go on to be one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, one of the most profitable stars, I think, ever in Hollywood, The Rock. But there's also a lot going on behind the scenes in this one, brother. So there's plenty to talk about if you're ready to jump in.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Jake, in
I'm
October. In October, you are working with the likes of Salvatore Sincere, Farouk, who is doing his very weird Spartan gimmick, and you're going over against Triple H on the house shows. Triple H and Farouk, they're going to go on to be Hall of Famers, of course, but at this time, did you see more upside to Hunter or Ron in the WWE?
Hunter.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What was it that stuck out to you about him? Because, I mean, in theory, he's got this kind of like iffy gimmick, maybe like on the border of cheesy.
It was an iffy gimmick, but I've seen him grow in so many different ways.
Okay.
His psychology was getting there. And I enjoyed working with him and teaching him. Really did.
He's an old school guy himself, an old school mentality at the very least, where he's like, learned from guys like Harley Race, and I know that his teacher was Killer Kowalski. I mean, when you're in the ring with him, even early on in his time there, are you seeing like, okay, this guy has got like some old school flavor to him?
Yeah, he had that taste, man.
Well, it proved out, brother. He's gone on to have a hell of a career even now.
Yeah,
What was your position like with WWF at this time? Mostly in the office or helping with creative?
helping with creative. Yeah, and I was doing a lot. I was booking for a while.
Okay.
Doing doing televisions and stuff, and I just didn't fit in the office. I'm not an office guy. That and I had no skills with the computer, and everything was done by emails then. So that was a bad sign. It told me that I wasn't going to be there long. But I was there long enough to get my hand in Steve Austin.
That was probably the one of the most significant things anybody's ever brought to creative.
Yeah, yeah. So I feel pretty good about that.
Now, you've talked to me before about your creative process where it's like you're in a meeting, but really for you, a lot of the work is done if you go outside, have a cigarette, give it some thought.
Yeah,
Are you a
yeah.
guy who's like, do you have like a notepad where you're writing down ideas, or what does that look like
Oh
for you?
yeah, yeah. I have a notepad. I write stuff down on ideas, interviews, all sorts of crazy shit.
It's cool, man, and it's unique to think about you in a creative office position with the WWF, especially given the fact that you're still on the road a lot, doing the house show
Yeah,
booth.
yeah. And that was really hard on me too, man. Doing both,
Yeah. What
really
was
hard.
what was that schedule like? Are you like do you have to get to the building super early so that you can help do booking stuff, or what does that look like for you?
No, get to the building at the regular time. But the thing is, the next day I might be flying back to Connecticut.
Wow.
And go to Connecticut for 6, 7 hours, then go hit a house show.
I mean, that's got to burn you out.
It did. It did. It kicked my ass.
I mean, at this point, 96, I believe you're 41 or 42 years old, somewhere in there. Were you starting to eye like, okay, in ring, maybe I'm done, but office, some possibilities for the future?
Yeah, yeah. That's what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty quick, I realized that I wasn't going to last long in the office because I just didn't like the atmosphere. I didn't like what went on.
So I'm not sure how much you're able to disclose, but when you're talking about what
Yeah,
went on, is it just Vince being abusive to people, or what was that like?
there was a lot of that, and then you had Pritchard, you had Cornette, and I just didn't fit in. I didn't hang with those guys, and I guess they thought that I was being an asshole or something, but I just don't do that.
Okay, so those guys were about like kind of camaraderie and hanging out and their own little
Yeah,
clique.
they had their own little clique, and I just didn't, I didn't want to play that game.
Man, it's a guy with your mind for the business too. It's like, who cares if you want to hang out? Just like let's just get some ideas, especially with the
Yeah, man.
company struggling the way that it was at this point.
Yeah.
Well, another note that a lot of fans are interested in is your involvement in the Boy Meets World TV series at this time. Jake,
Oh God.
it's our first clip this week. Let's have a look.
There they are in the ring. Well, there's Vader's son in the ring. Corey and Joe, they are counting. Jake the Snake Roberts. On the inside of the ring, Jake the Snake. He's got the snake. He's got the snake. They better watch out. Breaking Corey and Joe. They don't know where to go. Get the snake out of the ring. The snake does not belong in the wrestling ring. Vader wants to know who the man is. I know who the man is. The man is Vader. The fans here would like to see Jake the Snake, DDT Vader. It had to be Vader.
Hey, where are you going?
We forgot to buy programs. Yeah, you can't tell the players apart without a program.
My father? Not my father. How hard could this be? Where have you been?
Your Aunt Ruthie, she's over there, and
other place?
We had to buy Vader masks and the people and the line and what?
Give me something.
Frankie looking on. He has to be worried. His father is not looking too good in the ring right now against Jake the Snake. Frankie has got to be concerned. Their advice has not been paying off.
Jake's moving in for the DDT. Tell your dad to counter or he's a goner.
Watch out for the DDT, Dad.
The crowd chanting for the DDT. They want the DDT. Oh, but Vader countered. It must have been the advice from Frankie.
75. Hey, where are you going?
Frankie, I wrap it up. The end.
All right. So that's all it took, Jake, to just say, hey, look out for the DDT.
Yeah, there's always a stooge somewhere, you know.
Jake, what can you tell us about this very unique experience?
Oh, it was corny as shit, man. Are you kidding me? Corny as shit. But it's what they wanted, so that's what I did.
Man, it's I have to admit, when I was a kid, I was watching Boy Meets World, had no idea that there was going to be pro wrestling, let alone Jake the Snake on my TV. So it was a pretty cool moment for me, and I know a lot of other fans at that time. When you're doing a match that's going to air on a TV show, does it change anything that you're doing?
Yeah. You got to cater to them.
Okay.
You know, and the spots and stuff that you do, you got to pause and wait for them to do their gig, you know, outside the ring, holler at him or whatever. He looks up and makes eye contact with them. Oh, okay, watch the DDT, you know. Fuck, give me a break.
I mean, you're in front of a house show crowd here, so
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
a lot of the disbelief has to really be suspended by them.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have to like stop and redo anything?
No, thank God.
That is a plus.
Yeah.
I do have to ask, Jake, does WWF or the TV show put a little extra cheese on your Whopper for doing this?
Are you kidding me?
I knew when I was asking. Thought it was worth it.
I think I still get checks from Disney every time it plays.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know, like 31 cents, 59 cents.
So every once in a while, one of those checks will roll in.
Yeah. All that money's mine.
What do you do with them? Do you cash them?
Oh, yeah. Sure I do. Every now and then I'll just tear one up just to fuck with their booking department.
That's right. It'll get to the end of the quarter or whatever, and they'll be like, why isn't everything balanced?
Right.
31 cents off.
Exactly.
Well, apparently Vader broke his foot during this match. I mean, it's about time that he's the one who's suffering an injury in a match instead of you.
Yeah.
Any memory of what happened there?
No, I don't. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, apparently he did, and it would kind of screw up some of the booking plans here moving forward, but hey, it is what it is. Also wanted to note that during this time, a couple of other wrestling legends are in the company, but things are not quite what they used to be. Your old pal Barry Windham is here, but he's under the gimmick of the Stalker with camo face paint. Jake, what did you think of the gimmick?
The gimmick would have worked if they'd done it better.
Okay.
But they just didn't do it right, man. You know, they didn't. It was one of those things where it's like half speed, you know, just like a TL Hopper, you know. They didn't put any juice behind it for Barry.
Right.
Because Barry's a tremendous talent.
Yes.
You know, for Christ's sake, are you kidding me? Him and I used to tear the mats up in Florida, man, together. We had some really unbelievable matches.
Yeah, I mean, just unbelievably skilled guy, a veteran in wrestling. Like, there's no reason why he shouldn't be having great success. And like you said, the stuff you guys were doing in Florida where you broke his nose, and it was just so entertaining. And I mean, here he is now, and it's the last time he was there was, I think it was 1989, and he was the Widowmaker.
Right.
So it's, I don't know. It's, why do you think
neither time did they put any juice behind it?
Yeah. Yes.
You know, they didn't give him the wins that he needed. You know, what the fuck, man?
Wasted opportunities with one of the most talented guys in pro wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other guy who's coming in at this time is Terry Gordy, but he's arriving here as the executioner under a mask, and
Yeah,
he'll be carrying an axe and teaming up with Mankind and Paul
yeah.
Bear. I know that your pal Jim Duggan was really, really close with Terry. How was your relationship with him?
It was good. We spent some time together in Texas and Louisiana, and we were friends. At that time, he just wasn't the Terry Gordy that everybody knew. He had had that accident on the plane,
Mm-hmm.
and he was just a little off mentally, you know. Um, I've heard Michael Hayes said that when that happened, that when Terry came back, he didn't know what he used to do. So he watched tapes
Wow.
to relearn his wrestling.
Wow.
And there's only one problem there. The tapes he was watching were, 15 years old.
Okay.
And my God, he was rip snorting and, a kick ass guy. Then he was too much. Nobody could stay with him, man. He was a natural. And so it was hard to hold on to him, man. Because he'd just go.
Not quite the same performer, and it's evident, as he's arriving here, and
Yeah.
a rumor has it that it was a favor to Michael Hayes, who was working behind the scenes with
Yeah.
the company at the time. I mean, not quite the same Terry Gordy of old. Did you feel like there was
No.
still a place for him in the WWF, or was it time for him to
I
hang it
didn't.
up?
I didn't think he'd last long, man. I couldn't see him traveling or doing any of that because you gotta be on your toes when you're traveling, man. You gotta make airplanes. You gotta figure things out. There's a lot to do on the road, and I just didn't think he could mentally. He had the mental capacity at the time to do all that.
That did prove to be the
And
case. He wasn't there long.
yeah, no, he wasn't.
The pay-per-view in October is Buried Alive, which is where Terry's going to debut, but it also features a Buried Alive match between The Undertaker and Mankind. Pretty unique concept where the loser will actually be buried in a makeshift grave in the arena. Jake, I know that you were helping a book at this time while also working as an
Yeah,
active wrestler. Would you have had anything to do with this match at all?
no,
What did you think of the concept?
good TV.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Good TV.
It was kind of an entertaining finish too. The Undertaker gets buried, and then he does the carry
Yeah,
moment where his hand comes out through the
hand
dirt.
comes out.
Lightning strikes, and it's a pretty fun moment. The one thing that fans are always wondering about, Bruce Pritchard refuses to reveal the secret of how the Undertaker could be buried alive on live pay-per-view. Any chance you know what they did to help him breathe while he was under the dirt?
Well, yeah, but I'm not telling you.
Oh man, you too? I thought that was just Bruce.
Well, he wasn't using a straw, I'll tell you that.
I don't imagine. There's got to just be some secret cubby or something he's going through.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Well, Chris Candido is going to quit the promotion around this time. Apparently, the WWF doesn't have any real role for him, and he's also leaving over reported heat with Shawn Michaels, who apparently would get
Yeah.
upset at him for using hot moves in prelim matches on the house shows. Man, Chris Candido feels like such a missed opportunity for the WWF. I know that
Yeah.
a lot of guys say that he was just a little bit too small. I know that that's what Bruce has said on his podcast. What is your take on Chris?
He was a little too small, but he could have got over, man.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if he was around now. He'd be tearing it up.
That's it too. I mean, this guy shows up, 15 years later, and he could have been one of the
Yeah.
biggest stars in the industry. Good look,
Yeah, he
great
could
work.
have. Yep.
Well, Jake, there's no easy way to talk about this when it comes to Chris, so I'll just come out with it. Rumors suggest that Sonny had been having an affair with Shawn Michaels while in a relationship with Chris. Did you ever witness or hear anything? It feels like something the locker room would have been buzzing about.
Oh, yeah, I heard about all that shit, man. It was a three-way. There was Sean, there was Brett,
Oh man.
And that's why they had so much heat.
Okay.
It's just crazy. And poor Chris, man, he's left to hide in the bathroom while they do what they want to do. Imagine that.
Yeah, it sucks. And, I know that Brett has certainly denied over the years that he had any kind of relationship with Sonny. I mean, it's all over the place when it comes to Sean.
Yeah.
Did you see the whole, them taking her away to locker rooms or closets or whatever? Or you
No, I never seen it.
blinders?
I wasn't looking for it. I got better things to do, man, than watch that silly shit.
That's what a real veteran does. You put on your damn blinders when that kind of shit is going on.
Just keep going, man.
Well, here in 96, Sunny's a really big star, and AOL is going to announce that she's the most downloaded woman on their site that year. We've heard she could have a big ego and be difficult to deal with. Did you get along with her generally?
I did, but I didn't have anything to do with her.
Okay.
So it was easy.
So you got along with her in that you barely talked to her?
Right.
That's probably the best choice. Despite having huge stars in the company, the WWF was soundly getting their asses kicked in the ratings by WCW at this time. Vince is doing what he can to stop people from leaving, and he's actually going to even sign Bret Hart to a 20-year deal with the company, which of course will be broken the next year. Kurt Hennig is out the door. Jeff Jarrett is debuting with WCW at this time. It feels like the company is really struggling. What was the temperature like for you as a guy who's in the office and a worker?
Well, he was definitely upset. I'll tell you that. It had his attention. I know he would rant sometime, man. He'd just lose it.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. Just go off onto a rant, for a few minutes. But yeah, there were a lot of problems in the company before '96 and '96 with Razor and those guys. They were running amok in the WWF, man, and just making a total fucking mess out of a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
They were running the show, but good for them.
That is what we always hear, was that those guys just wielded a lot of power and had Vince's ear. And it's, man, when you start letting the boys kind of start to control what happens with the business, it can be a real problem, right?
Yeah, you don't let the inmates run the asylum.
That is exactly it. Now, this 20-year deal with Bret Hart, I mean, unprecedented, something that we'd never heard of or seen in wrestling up to that point. I mean, when you hear about this, are you like, what the fuck? Or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was shocked. I was really shocked.
Well,
don't understand it.
Even more shocking is they just break it less than a year later, and he's out the door and on to WCW anyways.
Yeah, desperate people do desperate things.
That was certainly the case here. Now, Vince is also trying a lot of new stuff, and of course, not all of it is going to be well received. It's around this time that Brian Pillman undergoes ankle surgery, but he's not exactly out of action. He will infamously pull a gun on Steve Austin during a home invasion angle, which the WWF will have to apologize for on TV. Jake, what do you remember about this?
I remember how ridiculous it was. Like, you guys are going too fucking far, man. And they did.
I mean, did you ever think that you would see the day when somebody's pulling a gun on as part of a wrestling angle?
No.
Insanity.
Yeah, it's just beyond all thought. It really is.
Well, we talked about Pillman recently on Ask Jake Anything, and you mentioned that he really hadn't done enough to be a WWE Hall of Famer, which really kind of boils down to his ankle injury and his untimely passing. I'm curious about your opinion when it comes to him as a performer, though, and the loose cannon gimmick as a whole. What did you think of that?
Oh, I loved it. Great gimmick, especially for him.
Did you think there was a little truth maybe to that whole gimmick?
Oh man, he could go, brother. He was a different guy. What a phenomenal performer, though. That's all you can say.
Yeah, great. Real legit athlete, former NFL player. And boy, before he got injured, I know that you worked with him in WCW. Just a really impressive guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, like I said, he could go, man.
Hell of a look too. So it's
Yeah.
I'm ashamed to think of what could have been with him. A guy that we really don't have to think about what could have been is the guy that we're here to talk about today, The Rock. They started doing televised features on The Rock, and he'll go as Rocky Maivia to honor his father and grandfather. Can you give our audience a little refresher on your history with The Rock and his family?
Well, I used to travel with his father. Rocky Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
But I traveled with him, of course, met his mother and all that back back when I was in Florida. And hell, he was just a kid, just a young kid. And then years later, that kind of tells you you're getting old whenever you're thinking about a 9-year-old boy, and now all of a sudden he's 19 or 20, and you're like, holy shit, what happened there? 12 years went by. I don't even remember it. But so when he came into the WWF, it was cool, man. Dad wrestled, his grandfather wrestled, my dad wrestled, my sister, my brother. It's one big family type situation. And he was real humble. And, his body was just unbelievable,
Mm-hmm.
of course. He had it all. All he needed to learn was, how to have a character, be a character. Because he had all the parts and pieces. He just didn't know how to use them and how to project them, how to get them over. But he learned quick.
He did, and I mean, one look at him. We're gonna have a clip here coming up soon. One look at this guy as he's making his entrance, like the big, bright smile, great looks, big dude, great shape. It's like, holy shit, okay, they've got somebody here, and that certainly proved
Yeah.
to be the case. You mentioned his grandfather. Did you ever spend any time around High Chief Peter Maivia?
No, I didn't. I was never around him. Spent a lot of time with Rocky Johnson, but never around the Chief. I miss that.
His dad, Rocky, was, he's kind of portrayed at times as being, I don't know, a little bit carny-ish. What was your
Yeah.
what was your
Yeah.
experience like with him?
Too much. Yeah, too soft. Yeah, he was cartoon. Everything was fun. Everything was loose. I'll just say loose.
I think I'm on the same page as you.
Yeah.
This is the era of controversy and anti-heroes as The Rock is coming in the door. So it makes me wonder, what did you think of the look and gimmick that he debuted with here?
You got to start somewhere.
But Jake, Destiny is kind of going to put you and Dwayne on the same path here as we approach Survivor Series. We have this from the 11/11/96 Observer. Mark Henry suffered a broken leg in training, bouncing off the ropes, so his spot at Survivor Series will be taken by Jake Roberts. This hasn't been said on television yet because there are still pre-taped angles where Henry is involved. I'm not sure that the $2.5 million invested in Mark Henry will go down in history as one of Vince McMahon's best money investments. So what do you remember about Mark's injury and your subsequent involvement here at Survivor Series?
Not a whole lot, man. I'd heard that he broke his leg.
Okay.
But that's about all I knew. And hell, we were roommates.
Were you really?
Yeah, for like 2 weeks.
Where at?
In Connecticut.
Okay. Were you in like a corporate apartment?
Yeah. Me and Mark Henry with The Rock downstairs.
No shit.
Yeah.
What was it like living around those two?
Never talked to him, man. Never seen him.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're
Everybody kind of minded their own business and didn't talk to each other. I never saw Henry. He was in Texas, and then he came up there and broke his leg. So I never even seen him.
I got you.
Like I said, we were roommates.
The roommate that you never saw.
Yeah.
Well, Ken Patera had preceded him as a strong man who made his transition to professional wrestling. What are your impressions of Mark Henry when you're around him? Do you think he's going to make it?
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. I mean, he's got the gimmick, but I just wasn't sure if he was going to, be able to pull it off. And of course, he did in a big way, in a real big way. It's hard to look at somebody in the very beginning and say that guy will make it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're honest with yourself, because damn, not many guys do.
That's for damn sure. I mean, there's so many things that are out of people's control in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
The way that you're booked and the character you're given and whatnot.
Absolutely. How much push are you getting? How much juice are you getting? If you don't have it, you're not going to go anywhere. Believe me, I know.
So I think we were all glad to see you take his spot at Survivor Series. Nothing against him, but he was still just a young guy in the business. And you're in Madison Square Garden. There's more than 18,000 fans that are there for the second largest North American gate that year. Before we get into your match, I wanted to ask, though, Sid is going to defeat Shawn Michaels here and become the WWF champion. Sid is a heel. Shawn is a baby face, but Shawn is getting booed out of the building while Sid receives the MSG fan support. Do you think that this was more a case of Sid being over or the audience having enough of Shawn Michaels?
The second one.
Now, what do you think it was that the fans were seeing that they were not liking with Shawn?
I don't know, man. I don't know if it's because of that crap they did in MSG.
Okay.
With going to the ring and all that shit. I don't know if it was that or if they just had too much, and here's something fresh and look at it. For crying out loud, look at it.
Oh, a monster.
Yeah. So they're thinking, oh my God, we got another Hulk here.
They were hoping so, and they were, Vince was pushing all of his chips onto the table here all of a sudden with him. I'm wondering if maybe that SummerSlam business where Shawn was very openly kind of berating Vader in the ring turned a lot of fans off during his run.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Hard to say, but one thing was for sure was that they weren't having a ton of success with him as a champion. Jake, I love the hypotheticals, so I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this one. If Vince had given you full control of booking and creative at this time, who are you positioning as the WWF champion?
Okay, my choices are I might have gone with Sid for a while.
I'm a little surprised, but it's not the wrong answer because Sid looks like $1 million.
Yeah, I done went with Sid for a while. You could have got 6 months or a year out of that, at least.
No doubt about it. With a guy with his look and the way he was connecting with the audience at this time, it's hard to argue. I think a lot of fans are going to hear this and say, like, well, Stone Cold was there. It's guys, let's remember, Stone Cold was the ringmaster a little bit earlier this year.
Yeah.
Let's build him up a little bit.
He quite hadn't got there yet.
He was well on his way, but you're right, not quite there yet. Well, all right, let's get to the reason we're here. It's yourself, Mark Marrow, Rocky Maivia, and Barry Windham taking on Crush, Goldust, Jerry Lawler, and Triple H. Let's drop in on your biggest portion of the action in the match after a hot tag from the young Rocky Maivia.
And Rocky with a presence of mind to attempt to make a tag. The Rock members, here we go. And here comes Jake the Snake.
You go from a raw rookie to an experienced veteran.
Oh, this doesn't look good.
Look out, King! I got a feeling somebody's going to get DDT here.
Back body drop dash. DDT coming up.
Oh, no, no,
Here's
no.
Helmsley being wound up. Here we go. Short arm, yeah.
Oh, no, no.
Go ahead, that's what they want to say.
No, they can't call for the DDT. No.
Do it, Jake.
No.
Do it, Jake.
Hunter, watch out.
Do it, Jake. And no, he can't. the Snake.
There we go. That's all I like to see. Come on, guys. Take advantage of the situation. Come on. The ref's not even looking at you.
Helmsley's team like a pack of dogs here. Taking advantage over the veteran from Stone Mountain, Georgia. 41-year-old Jake the Snake Roberts been assaulted here.
Has he ever? And I think
Wait a minute.
King was tagged in and he didn't even know it. Wide open.
King's
Shot
off.
to the ribs.
King likes this. Jake hurt. Lawler with the advantage. Just the way Lawler wants it. And Lawler's got a score to settle with Jake the Snake.
He does indeed.
That long going raw that Lawler takes to the DDT.
There we go. You tell him how it is, King. Oh, he's falling and he can't get up.
Look at that.
Lawler has some hyena-like qualities.
Making reference to Jake's demons, if you would, in the past. And Jake scooped up there from behind. Here we go. That's it.
Another DDT.
No, come on.
One, two, down.
We'll see you later, King.
So I didn't love the bullshit with Lawler and the whole,
I still don't.
Yeah, the cheap heat. I think it's just unnecessary, but it was a really hot tag, and the DDT, left the crowd happy, huh?
Oh, yeah. They got a pop out of it.
They certainly did. And by the way, you were a surprise entrant here. They didn't know that you were coming in and replacing Mark Henry. They did a big thing with Mark Marrow at the start of it. When you came out, that MSG crowd lost their damn minds. So they were happy to see you. And The Rock would go on to be the final member of your team, and he'd beat Crush and Goldust to win it all. The two of you were seen chatting there a lot while you're on the apron together. Do you recall if you would have been kind of schooling him up during the match or behind the scenes?
Sure. Absolutely.
And like a good listener, did you feel like he was taking your advice?
Oh, yeah. He was sucking up anything you had to tell him, man. He was listening.
Man, that's how you become great. You got to listen to the old school guys and glean from their knowledge. All right, well, let's hit a couple fan questions and we'll get out of here, Jake. Peter D wants to know, any thoughts on Sable? Did you have much to do with her? Was she more popular than Sunny backstage?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody likes a class act, man.
Yep.
She was class.
Yeah, and the WWF is certainly putting a lot of juice behind her at this time and highlighting her whenever they could. So, yeah, she was red hot and fixing to get hotter. Both literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
Chris asks, why did you get rid of the vest at this time? I thought it looked cool. That is a weird note, Jake. You don't have the vest anymore.
Yeah, I didn't have the vest anymore, man. I don't know.